Science can't do anything concerning God. Science is a tool that we use in the material universe that is more restricted than the actual universe that we live in.
Science can prove that there's a God if God wanted to intervene.
We're going to make just complete, like, non-sequential assertions that don't connect in any way now.
Could science not prove God's existence?
No, but I don't think he can prove that God doesn't exist either.
Science can
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
So, but but then that puts the onus on you. Because
what? There's no onus on me to do anything. What are you talking about?
Science cannot prove that God does not exist because you can't prove a negative. You can't prove that something isn't so. So if I said there's a giant spaghetti monster in the sky that's actually looking out for all of us, and it's going to
he's actually benefiting
the spaghetti
from
monster
that
is going to send all the women to hell and all the men to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Prove me wrong, bitch.
He's
2, 1. Here it is, guys. Episode 100.
100.
I'm glad. Cheers, boys. What's my shot? Yeah,
cheers.
Get into it right away.
Here you go.
The milestone.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers,
Pleasure to be here with you.
I just want to start by saying I'm glad this all worked out and the stars aligned. I only took half that shot because I'm a baby. But
we know.
Both of you guys have been here since the beginning. I remember Chad did I think it was like the third or fourth one I ever did.
With
we just had
you and me?
The microphone sitting in the table, pounding down summer shandies, talking about service industry bullshit.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
And it's come a long ways. Oh yeah, go ahead and
Apothic.
Yeah, Apothic sparkling red.
We're celebrating today.
We're celebrating tonight. We're getting fucked up. I not only. Ooh.
Catch it.
See, that's why it's all good. You know, that's why I asked you to do it. That's why I didn't want to do it over here.
I was not expecting it to be
first time having champagne.
Yeah.
I did not think it would pop off like that. I mean, it's just been sitting here. I don't know.
It's all good. If you want, you can go grab a towel if you want.
That's what hats are for.
Yeah, there's a towel. There's a towel hanging out in the bathroom out there.
Can't ruin the hat.
No. But I've grown. I feel like these podcasts have made me grown as an individual. Like more than almost anything, like my whole life. Just sitting down and like talking to this crazy fucker. I love this dude. Has like really been a great way for me to just like exercise my intellect. Kind of having
just listening to different perspectives from different people about different things makes you think.
Yeah, and like comprehending shit. You know what I mean? I feel like I've also just been better at communicating with people. It's helped me become a better bartender when I'm over at work and shit.
I can imagine that. Sure. Yeah.
Like, and I couldn't think of two better guys to have you doing episode 100. So thank you, Phil. Thanks, Chad. Yeah.
Wait a second. You're close to the border there.
What's the border?
Well, if I decide to accuse you of misgendering, you took trouble.
Oh, sorry. Wow. I don't mean to misgender you. So yeah, we got this. So Apothic Red Sparkling Champagne, boys.
Cheers.
We got all these milestones.
Cheers again.
Cheers again. This has been a week of milestones for me. Do me a favor to close that door.
We're making an endorsement for Apothic.
That's right.
They make good stuff.
That's true.
They do actually. Do you guys still sell that over at OC?
And White Claw.
Yes.
Get yours at your local liquor store.
One of these days, I'm just going to say this out right now. This is episode 100. We're just getting started. One of you hard seltzer companies is going to sponsor me eventually.
We'll look back on this on episode 1000. We'll be like, yeah,
Trulies,
that was the tipping point.
I've been drinking Trulies. I've been drinking White Claws. I even tried the Bud Light seltzer.
Yeah?
They're actually all right.
They're pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Well, how do you screw it up? You know?
I don't know.
Well, you always find
about seltzers.
People always fucking...
Actually, you know what? I know how you can screw it up.
How? By getting the government involved.
Well, you could do that. Well, they're already involved. It's inescapable. But no, you could make like seaweed, you know? Let's have a seaweed Bud Light seltzer.
Yeah. So just having some really like shit flavor is what you're saying.
Well, you know.
Well, you could do that with anything.
Glomming onto
I'm gonna
people's...
make crayon flavored seltzers.
Yeah.
Let's get Elmer's glue.
Eat a lot of Play-Doh in your day? Try this one.
It just hearing your voice in these headphones, like I just think about how shitty the production was at one point in this podcast. And it's all about like having standards, right? Because there's a point where I didn't know as much as I was doing, and the standard back then was much lower than it is now. Now it's like if if I do a test when we do the sound check, if it doesn't sound good, I don't even start the live stream.
You remember?
I remember one time you and
the
Travis
middle of the table.
Yeah, microphone on the table. Or last time he came here with Travis, I couldn't get shit working on the software for whatever reason. There was so many times I wanted to bash my fucking head through the wall. But I stayed resilient, dude.
It's really odd though, isn't it? That you can just get the software started. It's set up exactly the way you had it set up. You turn the computer off, you come back and you try to do it again, and it doesn't work. It's like, well, how does that even happen?
Yeah, I just call it technology bullshit now.
Yeah,
it's true. Everything. You can't put a load of laundry in the dryer without losing a fucking sock.
Yeah, I
know. Well, South Park explained that one.
Yeah.
Remember, no. I can explain it. Remember, every sock you lose in the dryer comes back as a Tupperware lid that you don't have a bottom for.
Oh, okay. But see, you haven't seen my kitchen yet. We have too many Tupperware lids and not enough Tupperware.
Yeah, I bet you're missing a lot of socks too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's my point.
That's why I always just buy black socks. No one ever knows if you're mismatching.
That's
when
a
you
good
just
one.
Buy
that's true.
I never heard that one before. That's good.
Facts.
That's a good one.
Likes that. Chad, tell me what's been with you, man. I miss you, buddy. It's been fucking. I
miss you too.
He hasn't been here since the last one he's been with his brothers. So it was like almost a month. Yeah, months ago. 9 months ago.
Summertime, yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful out. It was August. We were all in here, sweaty, smelly. I was recording
sweaty.
Shit on my laptop. You
I hope
doing
no one can
shit
tell how
on
sweaty we were during that podcast. How sweaty I was. Whew.
Yeah. How's it moving, brother?
Oh, that's probably the biggest thing that's changed in my life is moving. I live like 6 minutes away from Doug now. I used to live 40 minutes away. It's the first time I've been here since I moved, and I pulled out my navigation. I was like 6 minutes away, and that's amazing. But honestly, I haven't been excited to move into a new place since I left the house as an 18-year-old. Like just moving out of the house, getting out on your own. That was like the most exciting move I've ever done. And now, I've moved from place to place. They're all kind of small and shitty.
Mm-hmm. And moving's a pain in the ass, so it's not fun.
Yeah. Well, okay, the place
now. The place that I moved to now is literally triple the square footage.
The apartment that I've been in.
Yep. The apartment that you've been in. You helped me move that brown chair that I have. I still have that brown chair. But now I'm in a house. This huge, delicious, amazing house. Me and my brother and a friend of ours are all three of us living there. And the rent is $19.50 a month, so that comes out to like $650 a person.
Which one of your brothers, Ross or Evan?
Ross is living with us. Yeah,
that's what you got to do.
Triple the space for less money.
You guys bought this?
No, we're renting.
Okay, well that's what
you don't want to buy anything.
Not right now. No, and I don't know where my career is going to take me or where Ross's career is going to take him. Yep. So we're not ready to buy anything right now, but I'm super happy with it. That's like the biggest, most fun, positive change in my life is a major upgrade to where I'm living. So
right. Well, it sounds like
I'd love to have you there sometime soon.
Dude,
it's super close.
I'd love to come over now that I know
jog
you're
over and
close.
not even break a sweat.
Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. I'm excited to run over there in the summertime, dude. It sounds like you haven't had any major changes in your life in a long time.
Yep.
I know about you.
Same old. Yeah. Yep. Same old.
It's scary.
Week in, week out, year in, year out.
It's both scary and exciting, I'm sure.
But yeah, I'm still trucking along with old Chicago. They're going through some growing pains, which we won't get into.
No, we won't.
Other than that, my life is pretty steady Eddie.
Yeah. How's your mental health? We've been talking a lot about mental health on here lately. Yeah, that's been like the hot topic lately, for me at least. Because I just got with a relationship with this girl like a month ago. Oh. And her mental health was the deciding factor, and that kind of ended it and pushed things away. And unfortunately. And so ever since then, I've just kind of been obsessed with it.
With what? Mental health in general?
Yes, with mental health in general. Not the question that is it real or not, but the question is can everybody beat their own mental health? You know what I mean?
That's a big
is it
question.
possible? Mental health is real, but is it possible for someone to just be born with the chemical imbalance, the mental health issues, the depression, the anxiety, the insecurities? Because everyone experiences those things.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
To different levels.
Of it,
and
though.
frequency.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me being the positive guy, I think a lot of that shit is just in your head, and you really just gotta be mentally tough to get through it.
But then
me
at some
saying
point, it breaks. It even breaks you, right?
It breaks me
too.
And when you tell certain people that, they don't like hearing that. they want to play the victim, and they just want you just want to say shit to like make them feel comfortable. I refuse to do that. I feel like whether I'm in a romantic relationship or just a regular friendship, if I see you going through some mental health issues, whatever issues it may be, and I just sit there and comfort you instead of trying to like make you get through it and show you there's a better way to live life, I'm doing you a disservice as a friend. You know what I mean?
Well, think of it as a parallel to basically being like the punching dummy for a sadist.
What do you mean?
People who enjoy others' suffering.
Okay.
And they need to enjoy themselves, so I'm going to let them punch me.
Yeah.
I feel like what you're getting at is like a friend will tell you what you want to hear.
Yes.
A true friend will tell you what you need to hear.
Thank you. That's what I was exactly getting at, 100%.
Right. You gotta tell people, like it is sometimes, especially if it's your best friend.
Yeah.
I would say sit there and listen for a while first, let them get it all off their chest, and then, validate how they're feeling. Tell them, yep, I hear you there. That sucks. Oh man, you got that going on. That's terrible. Good for you for hanging in there. And then tell them some truth.
Right.
Like, you know what? Have you examined how you're using your spare time correctly? Me, for example, I'll microanalyze myself for a second. Like, I'm always frustrated with how much I give to work, and I have a very dramatically unbalanced work-life situation right now. But there's always more that I can do.
Work leisure.
Well,
balance.
work life. Well, work life. I mean, it's not about leisure though necessarily when it's
that's exactly what it's about. That's why you work.
Well, then you could say that 95% of life is work, because when you get home, it's like it's not just when you're done with work, it's leisure. No, when you're done with work, you got more work to do at home.
Yep.
You know.
Hey, can I ask you a question? This is something we stumbled on a couple months ago. It's one of my most viewed clips that I upload too. How much time do you spend with yourself?
Oof. What do you mean by that?
Just how much time do you spend with yourself?
100% of my time is with myself.
Okay.
No matter where I go, there I am.
But you're not though, because I would say being at work isn't really spending time with yourself. Like being on your phone, even if you're alone at home, that's not spending time with yourself. I mean, how much time do you spend kind of living in the moment and just doing some self-reflecting, doing some Chad time, searching inside your soul and whatnot?
Maybe more than the average person, actually. So a lot of people are attached to their phones, and during their spare moments, they're on their phone scrolling through this and that. I hate my phone, actually. I like to, when you catch me on a moment where I'm not responsible for anything, oftentimes I'm sitting there thinking about something, or reflecting on my day, or thinking about what I have to do tomorrow and the most efficient way to do that. I'm constantly just kind of sitting around thinking about stuff. I spend a good bit of time with myself in my head.
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I think we all need to spend more time with ourselves in our head. Not too much, though. Probably not as much as Phil. Because then you start...
probably not.
but,
healthy reflection time is a good thing.
Yeah, and giving yourself energy and time to do some deep self-reflection, not just a little bit. I'm talking about some real deep, almost in the form of meditation level.
Yeah,
I would
it sounds
to me you're spending all your time and energy at work, dude.
Yeah, that's how it is right now for me, pretty much. But like I was starting to say there, I kind of self-reflect a little bit, and I kind of think about how am I spending my off time, my spare time? Am I using it to its fullest potential? No. Even though I can sit here and blame work for having a dramatically unbalanced work-life world, I can still use my spare time more effectively, more positively, and more efficiently. So even though people want to, blame the other all the time, there's always room for self-reflection and correcting oneself and double checking yourself. Right. Check yourself first, always.
Well, 24 hours in a day is a lot of fucking time. I hate when people say they try using time as an excuse.
No, it's nothing.
It's not, you have a lot of time in one day. One thing I've been working on the past month is I speed up my daily routine. When I wake, I can't focus on anything, you guys know, until I get to the fucking gym. That's the first thing on my mind. Can't do shit done. So even if I'm tired, I've been working on just not when I wake up. I tend to be one of those guys that I have to just lay in bed for another 30 minutes and just look at shit in my phone.
Me too.
Even though I know that I'm not going back to sleep, I still feel like I have to lay there.
Yep.
So now I took baby steps. I was like, you know what? if I'm gonna lay in bed, I'm just gonna do it maybe 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Next week later, all right, now I'm gonna cut that down to 10.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, 5 minutes. Now I'm at the point where I pretty much just get up right out of bed, unless I'm really just physically exhausted. But then from there, it's okay, go take a shit. Within the first hour of me waking up, I go to the gym. I go through my daily routine. So I hate when if like people are saying they don't have enough time in one day. I think you have to analyze like your whole day. Like, okay, I spent 30 minutes on my phone here. I spent 10 minutes just doing bullshit here. Like, and you add up all these little minutes that seem really minuscule at the time, but then they have to be in hours of your day, and that's where like majority of your time is going.
How many hours a week do you work?
Not that very often now, dude. I don't even work 20 hours a week.
Okay.
That's okay. For bartending wise, I don't. Now, if you count doing this and like editing shit, and bartending with the YouTube stuff, I'm doing like 40 hours for sure.
Okay.
Throw the gym in there, I probably work out around 14 to 20 hours a week too. Work out about 2 hours a day.
Okay. So I agree with everything you're saying there about, there's so much time in the day.
Yes.
So just to play devil's advocate here.
Yep.
For someone like me who has a bit of a too much on their plate with work, I work 10-hour days, 5 days a week at an absolute minimum. Last week I worked one of those days ended up being 13 hours. Another day it ended up being 14 hours, and then the other days were all around 11 hours. So that's about 60 plus hours a week.
Yeah.
So when you're working and you're basically clocked in, you can't focus on anything else. You can't focus on your own personal life at all.
Well,
you're 100% locked into work. When there's that much work to do, dude, I'm here to tell you, the whole week can disappear like that. It's crazy.
But see, I still think if it's important to you, make time for it.
I see your point.
Was working at Old Chicago, dude.
I feel you. I'm just offering the counter perspective. You know what I mean?
I knew you're going to throw that at me. And to me, I don't buy that shit because you knew me when I was working I was basically full-time at Old Chicago and going to load fucking semi-trailers at UPS, doing that 20 to 25 hours a week. I remember going 3 to 4 months without having a day off because I would always be at OC on the weekend, so bartending, whatever, and then UPS was always Monday through Friday. And to the point where like I took pride in that shit. It was really fucking dumb at the time, but I took pride in being that kind of workaholic. But then I realized I'm not working towards anything personal. You know what I mean? I'm not achieving, and I'm not even achieving. More importantly, there was nothing fulfilling about that.
I called it tax season.
Yeah.
And I look back on it now, and the only redeeming quality of it was that I was helping my dad get things accomplished. He was driven to alleviate people of all of the problems that come out of having to keep track of all of this shit and all of these arbitrarily pointless fucking ways to satisfy people in power. I just looked at it as chasing your tail to try and find answers to questions they don't even want you to answer because it's in the code. They're telling you they don't want you to answer the question. They want you to do is present an answer and subject yourself to prosecution. But, at the time, I would get done with tax season and then I would spend the summer, working basically half time because I had time and a half up the, up the wazoo accrued or whatever. And I would brag to people about how
much you worked.
I just worked 120 days in a row, at least 10 hours a day.
I bragged about that shit too. Like
now,
that's no way to live.
Now,
it isn't.
No, it's just me. And
it's almost like you're trying to prove yourself to like people.
I've minimized my means to the degree that I need to, so that I'm not one of these people that's out there, I don't know, begging, whatever. Well, you know what? I'm derailing the whole thing. But
okay,
I'm just trying to.
You were trying to relate to Chad and I
onto the idea that the striving to accrue the hours at work. A lot of times, in retrospect, you end up with a completely different outlook on it once it's in the rearview mirror.
You do, but like at the same time,
is there something that you're saving for in particular? Because you're trying to save up money, right? That's why you're working so much?
Well, I don't think he has a choice.
Yeah, the job just demands that much time.
When you're a manager, dude, at a restaurant.
You're managing.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm thinking that you're bartending like us, and you just go in there and good grief.
No,
okay.
it's different.
All the problems are my problem.
Yes,
but do you like it? Do you like management?
I do. I love management when we have managers. So I work for a store that does $3 million a year.
So that's a good gross.
Yeah.
And they have like fucking really cheap happy hour.
I
want to say that because 3 million people someone might be like, oh, that's not that much. When you got $2 apps and $3 pints, like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was serving there, like you sold $2,000 that you were fucking slammed all night. 2 G's. Now, because I worked downtown. Well, like 2 weeks ago, I sold $7,700. You know what I mean? But you're paying $9 a drink. So it's like, you know, in a venue with
$9 a drink, that's cray.
Yeah.
Volume is a better. Well, when you're on the front line and you're providing the service with the, you know, at the point of sale, it has to be. It's got to be goods volume.
Yeah, see, well, I'll
if you
always
denominate
take
it
volume.
in money, you can't ever compare anything because it's all out of whack.
To answer your question about why I'm working so much, yes, it's about making money. But it's not like a bartender, you know, where, you know, each hour you work is extra money in your pocket. No, I'm salary. So it doesn't matter how much extra time I put in, I'm still going to get the same paycheck at the end of the day. So does that give me any kind of get ahead? No. In the moment, no.
Oh, no,
does it get me recognized by my superiors for hard work
short
and
versus long
being effective? Exactly.
You are. Okay.
Well, I'm long versus short. Playing the long game. You know? So I'm working for, you know, promotions and higher, you know, significant pay increases, which I've gotten a significant pay increase, but no promotion in 4 years. Why? Because they cannot find managers to basically replace me.
Yes.
So I mean, we haven't had 5 managers since June of 2017. So after so long of being patient and everything, you kind of start to tap your foot after a while. It's like, come on, guys, like I'm here for you. Like I'm ready. I'm here for the long haul. Like I can weather the storm. But when you're telling me the storm's going to last 3 years, I'm going to start to get a little impatient. I think understandably so.
Well, it's extremely draining too, dude. Like, oh man, I don't know how you do it. Like, that's why I'm grateful I started this shit, because this is the first time in my life I actually felt like I was working towards, you know, something like a lot more personal than, you know, loading semi-trailers or like serving tables.
Chasing your own dream.
I'm chasing my own dream. I have my own ambitions for once. I never was like that. I work like 2, maybe 3 times a week now, and I don't feel bad about it. And I'm also grateful to...
Does this pay your bills? This?
No, I don't make any money doing this yet.
How do you pay your bills?
I got good bartending gigs now, dude. Like 2 weeks ago for the Excision show, I made $1,000 Friday, Saturday night.
In 2 nights, you made $1,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and my fixed means
that's rent and bills for a whole month.
That's in 2 days of work, and like for me, that's what I'm grateful.
$1,000?
Yeah,
that's my month in one night.
Yeah, I mean, people rip on bartenders and servers all the time. Like, get a real job. It's like, honey, you have no clue how much money I'm making.
That's what I found out, guys. The event bartending, the concerts, that's where a lot of the money's at.
And you know what?
I found that out now.
You know what? This is an
Tell
excellent...
me a little bit more of that.
This is an excellent lesson.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
This is an excellent lesson just for general outlook.
Yeah.
Okay? We have a lot of the promotion of the provision of whatever a job is.
Thank you.
And then we got all of these mystifying statistics about unemployment and wages and economic growth and whatever. And what does it actually come down to?
What?
It comes down to being willing to do something that other people want that most people don't want to do.
Okay.
That's where value resides. So when you look at, you know, for me, like the best example is the pinnacle of our current like banking establishments. Okay. Mm-hmm. The way all of this shit is constructed and all of the crap that you have to combat from the people who erected the gilded cage in the first place. Nobody wants to be those people. Their existence is a freaking nightmare. It doesn't matter how many billions you pile on top of the fundamental, you know, just ignorance or denial of truth in the way they do everything. Mm-hmm. They are the undead.
And you talk
because they have killed their souls for power and money, and now and that's all they have. That all they do is answer to other sources of power and money.
And you're talking about people who are climbing the pyramid in like government, or
does anybody value these people?
They value themselves.
No,
their
but
family values
the
them.
system directs. It directs like directs the blood flow of how everybody operates through their hands. It's so nobody wants to be in that position. That's why it shouldn't even be there.
Yeah.
But the idea is that if you're out there looking at something to try to to do for other people, to earn money, whatever it is, you just have to go and find the thing that a lot of people want that nobody wants to do.
Which is
there's shit. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You might just go walking down the street and have an idea that nobody's ever had and figure something out. It's happening all the time.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear ya. Well, here, I think I can get a good segue into our next topic in here, because one person I gotta thank, dude, for being where I am at, it's the guy up above showing me the way. I see that shit eating on Chad's face right now.
Doug, I think that's very admirable of you to want to give thanks to things that are external factors, but I'm here to tell you that no one did it but you.
Hey,
you have yourself,
absolutely,
and the people around you that you've learned from, and your hard work to thank for where you are right now.
But see,
he's talking about that Russian, the Russian on the space station that he likes so much.
I thought he was talking about God. Never mind. The Russian on the space station. Yes, he did help you a lot.
Right? Yeah,
he did.
The Russians are always helping other people out.
Wait, there's a space station, Phil. Phil, is there a space station? I just want you on record saying that there is a space station.
I've seen the space station.
And?
It's in a pool.
The space station is not real.
Well, for me, I don't think God has done, he obviously doesn't force you to do everything. But for me, he grants me opportunities, and it's up to me to listen to them when I feel them. And almost you can call it following your gut or following your instinct. You know what I mean? Following energy, just going with the flow of things. Have you ever heard of Jordan Peterson? You ever heard of this guy or no?
No.
Okay, well I got a good one to throw at you.
You really do work a lot.
Okay.
Holy shit, man.
Jordan Peterson.
He's gotten smeared up and down the wall 15 fucking times in the past 3 years.
But he's
insane.
got a good one-liner for people who don't believe. He says,
clean
it doesn't
your room.
matter whether you believe in God or not. Behave as if God exists, because it gives you a baseline.
Oh, I agree.
It gives you a baseline for what's right and wrong.
Mm-hmm. I have said many times that if I die and somehow find myself at the pearly gates answering to some kind of deity, that I will be able to say with a straight face that I led a much more godly life than probably a majority of his followers.
Well, see, to me, it's also God isn't going to condemn you for questioning him.
No.
He wants you to ask.
Is he going to condemn me for denying him outright?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Well, I deny him outright.
What do you think, Phil?
My name's Chad Fuller, and I am an atheist.
My name is Douglas Christopher Hofstrom, and I believe.
I think that anybody who has a genuine faith in God will just, if somebody doesn't believe, you just have whatever conversation you have with them anyway. You still love people.
Yeah, absolutely.
The problem I run into immediately, just jumping off of what I just said, is that if you don't have that starting point for your reasoning from origins, you're dangling off of nothing. So when you okay, no, let's. I'm going to ask you the question. If you don't have any faith in God, how do you use the word love? Because
I use the word love in.
Wait. Okay, there's two different. There's another part that you have to make clear is whether or not you believe that there's an alternative supernatural explanation.
Okay.
Or if you're a pure materialist. Now, I think the pure materialism is so fundamentally flawed because there's too many observations about rules that matter follows and where information comes from.
I don't believe that there's any kind of supernatural force that has created us or is watching over us or is having any kind of influence on this world from outside.
No, that's not. No, I'm not. That's not exclusively what it's about. Do you entertain the concept of energy not being created or destroyed, and that this sense of an additional substance to our being that goes beyond material observation, that does not just end when the body dies? Do you entertain that idea?
I entertain it absolutely. Look, I'll say
Okay.
this: as an atheist,
Well, hell, at least you're not a pure materialist.
as an atheist. Sorry, I keep bumping your leg there.
No,
bud.
that's you guys
are so cute.
I
No.
always sit Indian style
here-
because my knees just I don't know
As
they
an
get
atheist,
weird.
check this out.
Okay.
Would you? Is this? Let me know if this is surprising to you. I hope that I'm wrong. Is that surprising? Okay, because so think about this. As an atheist, what? Put yourself in my shoes. What happens when you die?
Nothing. You just black
Right.
out. That's
right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
How much fun does that sound?
Not fun at all.
Right? That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
So
no, there's a flip side to
okay,
that.
well, I'm just talking about my
Hold on,
opinion.
let Chad-
I'm
let
just talking about my
Chad-
opinion personally here for a
Let
second.
Chad finish his opinion.
So, in my opinion, that sounds like a bummer. Who wants to fathom their own oblivion?
Yeah.
For example, I mean, to use, you just don't exist.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bummer. Does spending eternity in some kind of paradise, an endless buffet where you don't gain a single ounce and you can hang out with everybody from all of history for the rest of eternity, that sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any evidence to support anything like that? Hell fucking no. That is a fantasy land. I want to believe in it, but there's zero evidence that is at all real.
That's
and so
like movie heaven,
I am
though.
going, I am a truth seeker. I am here to be buried with a pocket full of clarity at the end of my day. When I'm done, I want to just have as much truth as possible. If that truth tells me that this fantasy of having a bearded man in the sky that's watching out after all of us, if my life experience tells me that that's garbage, then I have to go with that. And I have no reason to think otherwise.
Right
as of
now, you
I've
don't.
been looking for evidence. I'm
think-
always looking
I
for
think
evidence.
that you
I'm always
just
open to finding more
You
things.
just engaged,
But it's
in-
never there.
You just engaged in a vicious tactic.
What is it?
You're creating this image of the ignorant childlike believer with the bearded man in the sky reference.
Mm-hmm.
Any adult with any kind of a concept of faith in God dismisses the bearded man in the sky thing by the time they're like 10 years old. That's not.
I
And
don't
you
know
know
what you
what?
mean by that.
I'm not gonna say that there aren't people like that
I
out
think
there,
that's how
because
most people operate.
there are a lot of simple people out there, and the polytheistic tendencies of past peoples to hide the truth about who God is and what His plan is. Those tendencies dominate, and they always have.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and on it. That's why like the story of the burning bush.
Mm-hmm.
That's the burning bush that isn't consumed by the flame. So you're observing a phenomenon that doesn't have the effect that you normally observe it to have. It's a contradiction of physical reality that is metaphor for how incapable we are of actually comprehending.
Can I see that
what
video?
God is.
Of the burning bush.
Can I see that?
No, it's a story.
Right. So again, back to the point.
And the person
Zero evidence, which is
person or
ironic for
persons
someone who dismisses entire fields of science. But you put a lot
I
of
don't
stake in the
dismiss
Bible.
Fields of science.
Yes, you do.
No,
you have
there
said
are
that
fields of
anthropology,
study,
political
and
science,
nonsensical
sociology,
political,
and psychology.
There's no such thing as
none of those are
political
science. Yeah, so you dismiss entire fields of science.
Politics. What does politics concern?
But he
Here we go.
doesn't.
No, there's a scientific method.
Yes, and you can use the scientific method in all of those fields to perform science.
In watching people make choices about who should have power, that's not a scientific concept.
Oh my gosh, you use the scientific method to examine the choices that they're making and then make predictions about the future choices that they will make. And then when you're proven right, that is the scientific method. Ba-bing.
You can try to apply the steps of the method to things that
It works.
cannot be observed using the method. There's no control. There's no experimental environment. You're just going out and making observations in the world and then accumulating data and saying that putting that data into stuff is science. That's not science. It's not. Anything.
Again,
that,
what do you
think,
no,
Chad? Do you agree
no,
with
no,
that?
Entire
no.
fields of
Hey,
science
do you wanna
are
know-
not science.
Yeah, I will tell you. No, they're not science. Just
See?
because,
Here we go.
because
I'm
you
glad you
call
admit it.
them science.
I'm glad you admit it.
Dude, if I call myself the president, does that make me the president? No. If you call people pointing shit up into the clouds and saying climatology, that doesn't make it science. There's no instance. There's not a single instant of observing weather out in the world that can ever be reproduced. They are historical events. They happen once and then they are gone. And you can try to
Again, I think we beat this horse to death in the previous podcast that we did. You make these statements so matter-of-factly. Only things that have zero variables or only 100% controllable variables, only those things are science. Anything that has uncontrollable variables or variables that we don't even know about, none of those things are science. And I could make the argument about physics then, because there are variables that we can't control.
Let me ask you one thing.
Let him finish before you talk.
Do we believe in the hierarchy of like what is anchored? Like you start with logic, and then you get math, and then you get physics, and then you get chemistry, and then you get biology.
Pretty sure math
and
comes
then you
first.
No, it does not.
Logic comes before math?
Yes. It has to.
Okay.
How do you discern quantity without logic?
Everything requires logic, doesn't it?
You know what? I'll just.
It's okay. You don't have to.
I just don't know
Phil's
how.
New Year's resolution was to not get as angry on the pot.
No,
not get as angry?
No.
Not get as angry on the pot.
And you know what?
Okay.
You know what? The problem is that what has happened is that the scientific method was applied in the realm where it's applicable, and because it was so successful in helping us engineer material things. Science is for the material world. Material. Okay. You have to go physics, chemistry, biology, do anything dealing with life. Now you are talking about study. Ology means study of, right?
Yep. Not
every study is scientific. And that's all I'm saying. So once you get past physics and chemistry it's not as scientific as physics. And physics is the scientific application of mathematics. Once you're 2-3 levels removed from the fundamental core, you're not really engaging in this determination of certainty about things.
So you're just doing studies about it.
You're studying things and you're trying to gain insight into them, but they don't have the trial and error and like recognition of success that is in those higher levels. This like political science, what do we do? What is political science really? It's relabeling excuses made for people with power doing hideous shit. There is no science of politics. It's people making choices in their own interest against everybody else by whatever means necessary.
Why do those people make those choices?
Why do people make those choices, Phil?
Why?
Yeah. Because they can.
A living conscious will existing through time.
Why does anybody make any
choices?
People make choices based off their desires and preferences.
How does marketing exist?
Because of consumers and people choosing to buy shit.
So when people make observations about what consumers do based on different advertising methods, be it on TV or internet or on the shelf at the store, and then they test those and then they make those observations, then they make a prediction and say, okay, if we do this with our product, again, just using a marketing example here, if we do this with our product, we can predict that this and this and this will happen for the market. We will either get a lot of sales or none. Then they do that thing. Then results happen. Then people come into the store. Either they buy the thing or they don't. Then they sit back and go, okay, how did that work out for us? That, at face value, is the scientific method.
Those are results.
You make a prediction about what's going to happen in an observable phenomenon. Then you let the phenomenon do its thing. Then you see if your prediction was right. Then you tailor your next experiment for the scientific method into a new way of approaching that thing, and then see what happens again. How would you describe the scientific method? And why? And keep in mind that as you describe this, that according to your opinion, it can only exclusively be used for math, physics, logic,
chemistry.
Chemistry?
Right?
Is that it?
Chemistry is the last one that I would give like the weight of like actually doing science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
So what is the scientific method?
Then like you go to biology, to the degree that that a study of like biological phenomena is scientific is only to the degree to which they can tie what they're doing to chemistry and physics. Why do you think these people have all of these deterministic fucking attitudes about how their stupid socialist programs are going to work? They're claiming it because physics fucking does it with material.
Okay, go back to the scientific method.
They steal that real ability and say, we can sit up here like the scientist and look at you like a bunch of fucking atoms in a box and know what you're going to do.
Okay.
Are you a particle in a box? Actually, that's my biggest protest.
Hold on.
Are you a particle in a box?
Put the tangent back in the box.
Tell me that a particle in a box represents you, and I will believe that sociology is a science.
Do we need to bring out a talking stick?
Let's
Do we need to use a talking stick?
Let's just bring it back. Let's just bring it back to the question. Phil, in your own words, what is the scientific method?
The scientific method is what you described. You just bring things that don't fit the definitions that are in the method.
Your own words.
It's hypothesis, observation, analysis, conclusion, and then it goes back in a loop again. Yeah, I know exactly what the scientific method is. I did it in school.
So you can't apply the scientific method to, like you brought up in our previous podcast, the number of people that have yellow walls in their living room.
That's just counting something.
Right. Yep. That's what you said.
That's not doing anything.
So what if we did a study as to how many people had yellow walls in their living room, and we found that an enormous number of people have yellow walls in their living room on the coasts, okay, but not in the Midwest or the South for some reason? Weird. There's a weird coincidence here. It's not just random. We're not just studying random human behavior. Then we say, okay, maybe it's because of the weather. And then we test that theory and then look at other regions of the world. Oh, no, that can't be it. What if we did a whole bunch of experiments and then finally determined that when people live on the coasts, if their walls are a lighter, warmer color, it reflects the sunrise and the sunset a whole lot nicer than if they had blue walls or white walls. Now we just did a scientific experiment about something stupid, really. It's kind of silly, but we now can predict that there will be a higher number of people that live on the coasts that will have yellow walls in their living room, for example, because they live on the coast.
Does that make sense, Phil?
That's doing a scientific experiment using the scientific method and then making an accurate prediction about what people are going to do based on that observation. That is science. I can now make a prediction about the world, and my prediction is accurate about the world because I performed science. Science and the scientific method is just understanding phenomenon around us and then describing those phenomenon.
Does that give you any information
in a predictable way that will be consistent in the future?
And that gives you power to knowing that people are going to paint walls yellow. What does that give you? Nothing.
You can probably tell people that own paint shops on the coast that they should invest more in yellow paint.
Well, won't they do that when the customers ask
now
for
you're
it?
arguing. Now you're arguing about what to do with that science. That's not what I'm arguing.
It's not science.
What we're arguing is it science at all?
It's not science because people making choices are not particles in a box.
What you just said says nothing.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Respond to my point, not just something about a particle in a box.
You're not. If you're doing.
Respond to my example.
How about the yellow walls?
Does scientific experiments? Nothing in the experiment makes choices. That's not a variable that science can account for.
So science can't account for people that have free will.
I don't understand why this is so. I don't understand why this grates people the wrong way. I'm not saying that you can't gain some knowledge, but it's not scientific knowledge. It's just something that you know because it's something. And this is actually another thing. I watched a guy explaining. He was commenting on. Oh yeah. It was a pair of guys talking about AI, and he was saying that a lot of times what ends up happening is that we make assertions about what's going to be observed, or we make predictions about what the result of a process is going to be, but that the only aspect of it that actually has any substance is that there's this phenomenon of understanding that we're able to give back and forth to each other through verbal communication that is in no way connected to what's happening. And there's no way to connect.
You're in no way
those
connected
things.
as to what's happening. If you can make a
That's
prediction
fair.
about what's going on, and then that prediction fails or comes true, either way, that's science. If you're drawing the right conclusions from it.
No,
The result is what matters. The result.
If I make the prediction that you don't want me to chop your hand off, have I done any science? No. I've just predicted what most people are going to do. The only way I'm going to be wrong is if you're somebody that's got that weird condition where they think they're not supposed to have their hand. There's no I don't know. I guess that my
Phil's
outlook on
pissed
it
because people
is
believe in
that
science also make them other people not believe in God.
that's
That's why he's so mad about science.
The success
Oh,
of
because
the people
scientists make people
who-
not believe in God?
Yes.
Oh. But
mean,
you have a lot of respect for
you
the
can
high-level sciences.
Well,
Right?
science can't do anything concerning God. Science is a tool that we use in the material universe that is more restricted than the actual universe that we
Sure,
live
we can.
in.
Science
Oh,
can
good.
prove that there's a
Oh, my
God
God.
if
We're
God wanted
just
to
gonna-
intervene.
We're going to make just complete, like, non-sequential
Wait, no.
assertions that don't
Science-
connect in any way now.
Could science not prove God existence?
No, but I don't think he can prove that God
No.
doesn't exist. either.
Science can only...
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
So,
Right.
but then that puts the onus on you because
What? There's
science,
no onus on me to do anything. What are you talking about?
Science cannot prove that God does not exist because
Right.
you can't prove a negative. You can't prove that something isn't so. So if I said there's a giant spaghetti monster in the sky that's actually looking out for
It's
all
funny.
of us, and it's going to
He's actually
the
benefiting
spaghetti
from
monster
that
is going
on
to
the
send
whole
all the
science
women
thing.
to hell and all the men to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Prove me wrong, bitch.
He's presenting me with
Boom.
nine...
There's no
He's
way you can
presenting
prove
me
it
with
against that.
with these examples of science that aren't science, and then telling me to prove they're not science. So you're doing the same thing.
No. I didn't get to finish. No.
That's
Listen, are you listening?
dude? It's exactly what you did for the past.
I only
20
made half my
minutes.
point. I only made half my
Literally, that's what you did for 20 minutes.
No, hold on.
You
Listen,
told
listen.
me to prove the negative.
Phil, shut up
It's
for a
just like,
second.
God
Okay,
dang it,
okay.
dude.
So, science can prove that God does exist.
No, it can't.
Yeah, sure it can. Sure it can. If God came down here right now and turned the walls into liquid, and we had it on film,
Oh, yeah, we streamed
boom,
it.
proof. Guess what? Anything like that has ever happened.
That's what we need Doug Life
There's
to go
no
viral.
evidence of any kind of higher power, not just Jesus God, but any God. There's no evidence of anything like that for all of recorded history.
Well, see, part of believing in God is having faith, though. There's another quote. I don't have religion, but I have faith.
Sure, no. Hold on. But
And then now we're on to history.
No. You keep pivoting. You keep
No,
pivoting. You won't
literally
answer
just
the
said
topic
history.
here.
I was trying to get back to Mises's theory in history
Hold on.
because the distinction
you wanted to talk about
is that a lot of
science.
people try to turn what is essentially history in a short period of time into science. And that's really what happens. Like when the sociologists go out and count colored dots and they come back and they say they did a scientific experiment. No, what they did is they disguised a historical account in a scientific veneer. If you read the book Theory and History, that's just my recommendation. Anybody who reads that book will absolutely understand what I'm saying. Mises was freaking brilliant.
Are you familiar with Mises? Is he a philosopher, right? Ludwig von Mises?
Well, he is. I mean, he is in a way. He's a social philosopher. He's an economist. But what he did is he actually created the framework within which all economic elements can be connected. In a world where there were dozens of different schools for each different little phenomenon of economy.
Right.
Okay, again, you're just pivoting to other random things.
That's
back
just
to the main-
objectively
no,
valuable
back
information
to
that
my
anybody
question.
can use.
Back to my question that science cannot be used to disprove God, but science could be used to prove that God exists. If
No,
there's any
if it-
kind of an observable phenomenon where the laws of the natural order are suspended for a minute or for whatever, if the laws of nature are suspended in your favor or against your favor for a minute, for a second, and it's something that's tangible and observable, we would have caught something like that on tape or on video by now, but we haven't. So how do you explain that?
doing science is the explanation itself.
What do you mean?
So how come
The
doing
ability
science is the explanation itself? So how? Okay,
the ability to observe
you're putting
anything.
You're putting I think a higher onus of responsibility on yourself than I am right now. I'm going low. I'm not asking for that.
Oh,
much.
no.
I'm just asking for this.
No,
much.
I'm glad it's right here. This is right where I want to be. This is exactly
On topic, or
this is absolutely
okay.
all right. In order for anything to operate on a predictable basis means that there has to be pre-existing information that guides how it works, right? And if any of those rules are objectively static, the rules themselves had to have come from somewhere. That kind of information doesn't self-generate.
So it comes from a bearded man in the sky.
No, that's your childish. That's your
Why don't you put it more
misrepresentation of
eloquently
people
for
with
me?
faith. I like to. This is my best attempt, I think, as far as conceptual metaphor for trying to explain what God is. I think that the material universe that we exist in, whether it is an enclosed globe and we're being deceived by people with telescopes and stuff, or it's this apparently infinitely acceleratingly expanding universe with the billions of trillions of quadrillions of all of these things. It doesn't matter which one it is. If there's anything about that that's predictable and it's an actual rule that we cannot overcome, that rule has to have been set. And it's this universe. It's a dampening or a restriction on all aspects of the infinite. It just the infinite number of things and their infinite magnitudes all at once is more than we could ever comprehend. And that's, at least in a magnitude way, that's how you would describe God. And the fact that we exist here, this is how it's actually defined. We can't really know because we're observing it and trying to explain it. But the restriction on all of those infinites to whatever magnitude it is that they're limited here is the only reason we can be here. That has to have been done by something. And you can just go back to St. Thomas Aquinas and the uncaused cause, and that's just the logical chain from cause and effect. That's all he used to make that assertion. I think the two go pretty well together. I don't know.
Okay, so you could use that argument to say that there should be some higher power, right? Am I understanding that correctly? There has to be
I have faith in God.
Yep.
There has to be someone.
I go to the Jesus Christ level. I will tell everybody, take a look at the Gospels and look at what he actually told people and determine whether or not the costume-wearing ritualists are carrying out his word or if there's something better in there that's basically being hidden from you.
Okay.
Because I think what's actually in there can inspire faith in anybody. Basically, all of the claims about all of the groupthink and everything, they're all costumed with things that he said.
Okay. So you're saying that there's this infinite space, blah, blah, blah.
No, not space.
Dude, I let you go off for like 5 whole minutes.
Come on,
no, it's just infinite infinites. No, just infinite infinites. The space, what we look at as space, that concept of volume or what that comes out of the restrictions. We're so incapable of comprehending how this comes to be.
Okay, so just let Chad respond, dude. He lets you go on his rant, dude. This is why people don't want to come over and talk with you, because you don't let anyone talk. Like, I'm sorry, told you about this before.
It's all good.
Like, I love you.
Patient.
You know I love you, but like, and I know, like, you get passionate about this shit.
But
and
look at what happens. But look at what happens. I call it the infinite infinites, and then we start to associate the concept of space to it, and now it's Thor bouncing around in the mountains. It's like, no, it's just what it is. It's just the general, just the accepted.
I don't know how you can jump to that conclusion when I haven't even had a chance to respond yet.
No, it's because
Phil, if you want to be understood, you got to make a little bit of an effort to understand other people also, and to listen a little bit.
Oh, I do, and that's exactly why I jump in like that, because I understand that people generally start making incorrect associations with what I've said when they're answering me, and
you could try harder to communicate more effectively.
Or maybe you could let them say more than like a sentence before you're like, oh no, that's what I said.
Okay,
it's true.
Okay, there you go. Just sit back for a minute. Pour yourself another glass of champagne. We have the other bottle in there.
So I want to follow up with what you said. I want to follow up with what you said in a little bit of a different tone.
Dude, you already just did it.
It's just your style.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
the content.
Okay.
That's all I'm trying to get at.
So I'm going to respond in a bit of a different way that you just said your piece. I'm not going to go on a 5-minute rant. I want to have a back and forth, okay?
No, I got
Let's try to keep responses.
I know you do.
Let's try to keep responses to one sentence.
We can pull out the talking stick.
I
to one
don't
sentence.
want to wreck it.
Okay. So let's have a good back and forth here. Okay. So you're saying that the space is impressive, right? Just let's just talk about space as a what people generally understand space to be. It's super, super infinite, right? Or that's how we understand it. And you kind of liken that to also how we think about God, right? God is super, super infinite. There's no way we can comprehend so big, so immense. Are those two things comparable?
Yeah. Can I make one distinction?
In a mind-blowing sort of way of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can I make one distinction?
Yes.
What we're now being fed by certain scientific minded people is that in the case of the reality metaphor of the infinite universe and space, is that they're telling us that they're using tools to look at it, that they're going to be able to explain everything. That's how they look at it. They're like, do you see what you know what I mean? Like when they make these ridiculous technological predictions about what they're going to be able to do, and
we're all going to fly in cars and stuff.
And that's where I don't. That's where I don't like the comparison.
It's using technology to try to predict shit that's just unpredictable.
Okay. Well, what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah, maybe I'm so deep in this that I can't even. Maybe I'm not even capable of like explaining. Maybe it's just feelings. I don't know.
Well, I think.
Okay.
Well,
so
hold on.
What I'm getting at here.
I'll let Chad go.
I'm gonna jump to the crux of what I'm getting at here. So if you want to argue that space is so immense and so so crazy, and the laws of nature have finite rules to them. I think that's the point you're making, is that someone had to set up those rules. One sentence response.
Yeah, no, it's the information comes from minds.
Good.
And pre-existing information has to come from a mind.
Okay.
Right?
That's true. We can all agree. I think Chad agrees with that. All information comes from a mind.
I disagree with that.
Really?
No. Okay, so this is
I agree
saying
with that statement, actually.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
So this is saying that the universe, look at it from my perspective for a second. Okay, the universe, we think it had a beginning at the Big Bang, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least the universe that we understand, that we have studied, that we comprehend, had a beginning at the Big Bang. Who knows what happened before that, though, right? There's so much more that we still have to learn, okay?
Yeah, and
space is so big that it's going to take forever.
They think there could have been multiple Big Bangs too, right?
Yeah. Sure, right? Like, they say our universe is ever expanding. What happens if it reaches a point where it becomes so big?
It's basically a universe. It's a universal spring constant.
And then another Big Bang happens or something, right? I'm just bullshitting here.
Right. Yeah, it's a bounce.
So,
it bounces in and out.
Right. Yeah. So to me, it's not a compelling argument in my intellect, in my reasoning, to say that because space exists, because math has rules and biology has rules and chemistry has rules, that someone had to set up those rules. That is not a compelling argument to me.
Well, for me,
okay, no. Let me finish here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to make that argument and say that is reason to believe in a higher power, as someone who basically hit the start button, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we can also talk separately about that. This is another conversation topic. But does the world change and adapt and evolve because of someone pulling strings, or is the world actually evolving? Do you believe in evolution? Again, that's a separate conversation.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about right now is did the start button require hitting? Okay, I say no. It sounds like you guys say yes. There, someone had to click start.
Here's my thing. Right?
So hold on. Last point. That is a much more believable position for me than to say that, to go a step further and to say that it was Jesus, that it's the biblical God. That's a much greater leap. So I'm much more easily, I could agree with you a lot quicker that something somewhere hit the start button versus it was God and Jesus. That is a big leap, and I don't think that you can talk about God and Jesus in the whole start button thing without out of hand dismissing all other religions who all think they've got the right guy who clicked the start button.
So you're more on the agnostic side of things because you're a smart guy that goes with logic. Like something just can't be there, right? That's my thing. Something just can't be there, like magically. Something always has to have.
I've got a whole crazy theory that I could talk about.
But do you agree with that though? Do you agree that something just can't magically be there? I feel like something always has to be created by something.
Well, if that's your argument, then what created God?
He just is.
No.
Oh,
just
but see,
is,
no,
you know?
you can't say that
Why
about
not?
space. But you just said that nothing can just be there. And then I say, but what about God? We're like, well, he's the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
See, do you know what it is?
Understand though.
Do you know
That's
what
not
it is?
intellectually consistent.
Is
It's
it
not.
basically-
It's not intellectually consistent.
That's fair.
Why?
Thank you.
Okay. What?
Because you're saying nothing can just be there.
No,
Because
see,
you're
but no,
except
no.
God.
Yeah, no, I'm
wait.
just saying, like, I'm saying something always has to be created by something else. But then I said this one thing, though, is like, doesn't define it. I know what you're getting at.
See,
I know what you're getting at.
Good.
Okay.
That's listening. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm good at.
Do you see
I'm
my
putting
point? You don't
myself
have
in
to agree
mind.
with it. Do you see my point?
No, I see what's happening.
Do you see my point?
It's not a point.
Oh my God, Phil, you are
No.
really frustrating.
No, what I'm saying. Okay,
I'm here with you, bro. I'm here with you.
Does it help to start out as fundamental as you could possibly get? Because it is. It's origins. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes,
the origins
sure.
of space and time and just everything.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
universe.
so-
yeah. Good. Okay, we're on the same point right now.
Okay. So obviously we know that there
How long
were
until it gets derailed?
there were all sorts of people living and dying and fighting and warring and telling stories and learning how to write and recording history well before Jesus Christ was born, right?
Yep.
So we know that at the very beginning, the person Jesus Christ who lived in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, like you said, bearded guy in the sky, he wasn't sitting there like that making it. That's not. It's it's a childish picture book representation of how anything occurred. Is the ultimate starting point that we can consider from our human capacity to reason and understand. Does the starting point start with nothing or something?
I would say the starting point would have to start with nothing.
But how does nothing develop everything? How can nothing create something?
See, this is the problem, is that you don't want, well, okay, I'm not
Okay.
going to say, in what is presented as the chain of reasoning, the nothing at the beginning, God is excluded from being there. It's nothing, okay?
Mhm.
In our human conception of what nothing is, which is really hard to do because we can't observe it.
Human conception of what nothing is. This is the next point that I'm going to get at.
Yeah, see, it's a problem because we're materially limited in our ability to perceive.
Yep.
And this is where the metaphysics and the logic that we can connect to what we can actually observe comes in. There are like paradoxical examples from particle physics that people like to present. It's like, well, did you know that black holes, they evaporate theoretically? It's called Hawking radiation. You guys know about this?
Where they take in so much stuff over so much time and then they're shooting stuff out through their poles. And then
No, that's how that's how they exist,
Eventually
right? They're
die.
like, as they absorb
Pulsars.
mass, there's a lot because they're moving. It's the ship moves at such a high speed, and in a circle, it generates these cross product radiation
Basically
jets.
lasers
No, I'm talking about.
coming off both
I'm
poles.
talking about the quantum probabilities that pairs of matter antimatter particle pairs will just randomly appear. If you give yourself a big enough volume of space, the quantum probability delivers the appearances of particle-antiparticle pairs, okay?
So it would
now,
seem that we created something
well,
from nothing.
No,
It would seem that way, wouldn't it?
the event horizon. No, that nothing was created out of nothing.
But it would
because,
seem that way. That's what I'm saying. It
their
would seem
sum
that
is
way.
zero. That's why it's allowed in the theory.
Aha! This is getting exactly to what I'm going to get at.
At the event horizon of a black hole, because the surface area of one of these is so immense, you have that space available to the point where particle-antiparticle pairs will blink into existence at points where the matter half of the pair survives and the antiparticle gets absorbed. And when it absorbs the antiparticle, it has to surrender mass. So the black hole evaporates, not really. The matter didn't disappear. It's now just outside the event horizon. Nothing out of nothing took place. What happened is that a quantum anecdote actually, if you were to actually be able to look at a black hole long enough, if you actually watched it shrink, this would be the only thing you could go to. But it's not an example of something from nothing. It's just it's an anecdotal thing that seems like a paradox, but it's not. Just like the twin paradox, Einstein's twin paradox. You know that one?
No,
I don't. I'm not familiar with it either.
No, but it's
identical twins. Who grow up separate lives.
No.
And then end up liking the same things.
They go to a launch pad, right? So one twin gets on the rocket and travels away from Earth at 0.9 the speed of light, and then stops and comes back at 0.9 the speed of light for however long, and it results in an aging difference.
Yes.
And the people always say, well, how do you know? Since it's relative, well, to the one on the rocket, Earth goes away at that speed and then comes back. So how do you know which one is going to end up being older?
Because the closer you get to the speed of light, the slower time moves.
Yeah. But if it's relative to the observer, well, how do you know it isn't the Earth that's moving? And basically what it is it's a trick of not acknowledging that changing reference frames is how you identify the one
I'm being
that's
very
in the
patient
constant.
here, but this is a very long-winded response to
be honest, Phil, I'll just be real, brother. You lost me.
Where did I start?
A few paragraphs
Where
ago.
did I start?
With the black hole and nothing coming from nothing.
No. I started with the starting point for your reasoning about origins. Is it nothing or something?
Yes.
Well, we're in something. So for our ability to comprehend, well, even if it's a fucking simulation on somebody else's fucking hard drive, that shit still exists somewhere too. See that one? Here's an example. Fucking aliens seeded life on the planet. Well, all that does is remove the question of the origin of life another level. It doesn't accomplish anything. Same thing with the fucking simulation. It doesn't do anything to help either. All it does is just add another, this is what happened step to getting to where you're trying to go. So if we observe that, we're observing things. So obviously something has to be our starting point.
Yeah. I like impulses to grind. He says the limitation of mankind's ability to process the meaning of God, life, infinity, and nothingness has given magicians, priests, and scientists power over people and policies for centuries.
Amen, brother.
Anthony, LOL, it's been a good one. Anthony, thanks for tuning in, brother. If you're still here, I'm not sure if you're not.
So what?
And then impulse to grind. Who said life came from nothing? So if you just joined, brother, my question, when we're talking about the beginning of all this, is my argument is something always has to be created by something. But God is the one exception, which kind of goes against that logic at the same time, what Chad pointed out.
So for me, it's like for you, maybe God is the most impressive, amazing, immense thing.
And I want to say it's something we'll never understand or comprehend. Sure. I don't ever claim to know.
For me, that's what space is.
Okay.
Space is immense.
You're never going to comprehend it.
We're never going to be able to fully comprehend it. But the more that we do comprehend, it explains a lot more phenomenon in space and here on our world that helps us understand what's going on around us.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think a majority of this shit when it comes to God and the space, I think it's just beyond all human comprehension. At least right now.
Space?
Yeah, space and God. And religion, you know?
We understand a lot of little things now. Like the moon is a celestial body that is orbiting the Earth, and because of the size and the distance that it is, it stays there. And because of I forget what it's called, but how we only ever see one face of the moon. Mm-hmm. It's because when celestial bodies face when they're orbiting each other for so long,
its rotation and its orbital period are tidally locked.
They're locked in. Yes, this face and this face will always stay locked, so that as the moon goes around the Earth, it actually rotates one full rotation for every rotation it makes around the world.
Rotation.
Isn't that amazing?
Orbit.
Yeah.
That's some cool shit. That's
is
some
pretty
interesting
cool.
physics right there.
It is how he figured that shit out.
Right.
That's well, you guys want to take a quick break here?
Quick
We're
break.
an hour in. Yeah,
Quick
we're
break,
an hour
and then
in
we're
here.
gonna get into the really meaty shit.
I could use a cigarette.
Me too.
That's what I'm saying.
But
Everyone will be right back. I'll set the timer. We appreciate all you guys tuning in.
Before we
15
leave,
minutes.
Out.
I want to establish that I'm planting the flag on the nothing something point.
I would love to talk about that when we come back.
Yeah, I think we're getting something good here. People are like, oh, we're gonna take a 15-minute break, guys.
Boom.
Oh, you should cut it to 10.
Sense to ourselves and our lives. Okay.
Yes.
I think the next level is it ends up going full circle where you come back to realizing that, yes, while I'm having my own subjective experience and I'm doing things in I'm interpreting what's happening to me and my own actions as a subjective reality, you also come to realize that there is there is an objective reality around us that that impacts us all. Where, you know, if I slam on my brakes on the highway and then it causes everyone to slam on their brakes behind me, I just created
an objective truth.
Exactly.
That
an
you
objective
created.
thing just happened that is now affecting you. It's affecting you. It's affecting everyone behind me. There is an objective reality that we all must confront on a daily basis, and our subjective reality is how we choose to deal with that.
How
doesn't
how
change
we'll
the fact,
react from it.
Exactly.
Basically.
Doesn't change the fact that the reality around us is there.
Yep.
And you can't do nothing about it.
But
All
how
you
we
can do
react
is-
and how we take it and how we're going to respond to these things is all completely subjective.
It's your choice, and it's the way that you choose to interact with the world. Then
I was like, even positives and negatives are subjective. Was it say just like
That's why you never start your reasoning from positive and negative.
what you saw your reasoning
You
from?
can only start your reasoning from true false. And that's what causes a lot of the nonsensical problems that people present. It's the same thing with the good people nonsense.
Yeah. Oh, here, I want to run this one by you. Phil has been trying to get this.
I'm absolutely
Phil's
correct.
been throwing this one at me.
What is it?
There are no good people.
there are no good people.
There are no good people. Do you agree with that or disagree with that? Because to me, you already know what I said. Every time I say, oh, so-and-so, no, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Phil goes, no,
Nope.
there's no good people.
No good guys.
Well, okay, let me before I even ask for you to elaborate on that, I will ask a very obvious follow-up question. Are there any bad people?
Well, if there's no good people, there can't be any bad people.
Right?
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with this.
He
You
got
see where I'm
you.
going with it because I think I know where he's going with this. And if you can say that, you can't say that.
I agree.
So if you say there's no good people, you also cannot say that there are any bad people.
No, I say that there are people that have particular ends that they want to achieve,
Sure.
and are willing to implement certain means to
So
achieve
then
those
are there
ends.
bad people?
I just look at it as whether or not basically what really drives me nuts about it is the ends that are claimed, and people don't understand what it is they say that they're aiming at.
No dodging. Are
I'm
there
not
bad
dodging
people?
anything.
Are there bad people?
But that's just a
You're
yes or no
refusing to-
question,
yep, you're
Phil.
refusing to
People
answer
are
it.
terrible. Yes.
So yes,
Are there
okay.
bad people?
Yeah.
There are bad people.
But there's no good
Okay,
people.
I would love to dive into this further. Now, Phil, you can have the floor as much as you want because you're going to paint yourself into a corner here. Why are there no
I'm
good
just gonna-
people?
He's busting
but
out the
there
notebook.
are
I'm just going to show
bad
you where
people?
the corner exists and show you that that's not where I am, because it's easy.
Why are there no good people, but there are bad people?
Well, first, I'll just tell you my source. My source is Jesus Christ.
Ugh.
Dodge
Well,
Mister
see.
with that.
So I know that
Even the chat's calling you out, Phil. Even the
that's
chat's
fine.
calling you Mr. Dodge. Phil's playing dodgeball on this.
No, go ahead.
What are you talking
Go
about?
ahead.
What am I
Explain-
dodging?
Explain your point. No,
God.
he's going to do an illustration.
What
I
have
like
I
this.
dodged?
I like this.
I said there are no good people.
Yes, but there's only bad
there's
people.
but there are bad people.
Well, it's mostly basically that characterization comes from the centering of your existence on the performance of bad actions against your neighbors. That's what I would classify as
So
a bad
if you
person.
do good actions, then that should make
See?
you a good person.
So you've got the people axis, good and bad, and you have the action axis, good and bad. So
Okay,
you've got,
so for everyone listening, he's got a little
it's a
four square
Poisson
chart.
square.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a 2x2, and you set up whichever thing you're characterizing on one side, and then on the opposite if you're a horizontal first and then vertical, doesn't matter which way you do it, because then all you do is just draw in the boxes the interactions of the two characteristics. It's a Poisson square. You can Google it. Look at it. So you end up with good people doing good things. See, that makes absolute sense, right?
Yeah.
But then you have bad people doing good things, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Continue.
Of course,
Go on.
of course, you have the classic bad people doing bad things.
Yep.
But then you also have
Good people doing
Good
bad
bad
things.
Oh. So to
So
me,
what's the point?
Yeah.
to me, if you're going to reason about action to any degree, beginning with good people or bad people is pointless, because you're not establishing anything by saying that someone's a good person, because good people can do bad things.
I agree with you. I would say
You have to reason about
but
action.
You're contradicting
not
yourself.
Characterizing people.
you're contradicting yourself.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I absolutely started from the premise that I want to be reasoning about things. Characterizing people as good and bad is not a premise to establish reasoning.
Yet you just characterized some people as bad. You said
No, I'm saying-
good people do not exist, but
They
there
don't.
are bad people.
They
You
don't.
just said that. So do bad people
No.
exist?
I'm saying that if you divide people into the groups.
Yes, Phil, I
Good
see what
and
you're
bad-
saying. I see what you're saying.
I didn't
but,
say there are
but
good people. I'm saying
No.
this is the result of
Oh my God,
reasoning
okay.
about it.
Maybe he didn't hear my question before.
Right.
Are there bad people?
I feel like I am. It's like I'm stuck in one of those gravitrons or something. I'm just being spinned around by some. What?
You're spinning yourself around
I
here,
am
man.
not spinning.
Are there bad people?
Yeah.
Are there good people?
No.
See, that doesn't make any
See, then you're
sense.
contradicting yourself.
Yeah.
You just said you can't come from this premise and say that there
No.
are good people and bad people
No, when
and
you're-
figure out how
See,
their actions make sense.
The reasoning dictates bad actions. We want to exclude bad actions, whether or not good or bad people participate in them. The reasoning about good and bad people has no influence on it.
I think there's a lot of it. It comes down to if a good
That's why
good
I say
people,
there's no good people, because people constantly start with this premise that a person is good. And you can't start there. I don't care if somebody thinks you're a good person.
So I think that we start with there's just people, and then based off the actions for the rest of their life, that determines if they're good or bad.
No,
And if,
no,
if they do
no.
more good things than bad things,
No.
yes. Can I finish? If they do more good things than bad things, I think by your kind
Tip
of
the scales.
to its scales.
No,
You know what I mean?
weighing
Scales.
yourself on a scale. No, this is not the point. The point is to separate the categorization of people from the reasoning about action. That's the only point.
I agree with you entirely.
And if I can lead people to that by making them freak out about the fact that I say there are no good people, then that's what I'm going to fucking do.
Okay. I'm not
High
raising
five,
my hand.
man.
No, sorry, not on that one. Not on that
Why?
one. Not on that one. Not on that one.
Dude,
Not on
I
that one.
swear to God, that
Okay.
can go viral.
Okay,
hold
well,
on,
this,
hold on.
we'll make a lot of clips from this. Okay,
I
we're
think
gonna let Chad
it is
go.
much more intellectually consistent, and for my opinion is more intellectually consistent. Here's why: because I believe that there is no such thing as good and evil. Period. There's no such thing. It's just people.
That's why I'm talking about reasoning
Shut
about
up for a
action.
second,
Shut up.
Phil.
Correct or
We
incorrect?
just talked about
it's
this.
the same thing.
Stop.
So, but you're casting
We're gonna get the
aspersions on
talking.
what I just
we're-
said.
We are not going to get the talking stick. We're going to get the no talking stick. You jam it in your
That's what I'm
mouth.
saying. We need to get the talking.
So there is no such thing as good people or bad people objectively. Okay, there are, like Doug was starting to say, there are people that could be said to be good people or bad people subjectively, based on how many things bad or how many things good they have done in their lives.
Yes.
It tips the scales in one direction or the other. okay?
Depending on the person who's subjectively
Right.
looking at them,
Right.
too.
As long
you know
as you
what I mean?
want to establish a fallacy
say-
to place your scale on.
Phil, what did we just say?
So I will say that there is no such thing as good people or bad people. There's no such thing. People are not good. People are not bad.
I'm
They're
fine with
just
that.
people. They're just people.
Yep.
High five?
Then what? Now I can high five.
I don't care.
If you agree that there are no bad people, you can't say that there are no good people. There's zero fucking good people in the whole world.
Yeah.
But
No, giving somebody
We
the
can
label
find
good
bad
just
people
gives
all
them
over the place.
license for shit, and that's why
okay,
they don't exist.
I think I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
I think I see where you're getting is this is the reason why I say that I'm an atheist rather than I'm agnostic, is because I haven't seen any evidence to push me in the direction of even agnosticism. I haven't even seen evidence of that. Okay. So therefore I choose to say that I am an atheist, partly because I want people to go, it's a bit of a shock value, right? So you're saying that if I need to say this to get people to think as a shock value, then that's what I'm going to fucking do, right? Yeah. That's what you just said. I see your point there. I do the same thing when it comes to religion. Let me finish. Yeah. But you cannot sit here and say bad people do exist, but good people do not exist. If you say that good people don't exist,
you can't have one without.
You have to say that bad people also.
It's like saying,
do not
I believe in angels, but I don't believe in demons. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, see, I don't have any problem with both of those because I know both of those exist.
Well, yeah, so do I.
And the reason that I grant more latitude to the whatever the label bad people mean, but whatever that means, is that it's far too easy from where I plant my theoretical flag concerning people making choices. There are huge swaths of the population who have dedicated their entire lives to bad action, and the only thing I can attribute to that,
people are not just evil for the sake of being evil. No, they're not. No, they're not. How many villains do you think of themselves as the villain? All the villains throughout history think of themselves as the hero. They think they're doing the right thing,
which goes back to everything being subjective, right? Because in their mind, they're doing a positive.
Yep. No villain out there. Not none. I don't deal in those only Sith.
Yeah, see, you know what? When people commit bad actions, I don't care about their explanations.
There are no such thing as if you can say that there's no such thing as people who devote their lives to good and who can be said to be good people. You cannot say the same thing of bad. You just can't, because sure, there's plenty of people out there that have done bad things. Again, it's just a scale tipper. There's people that have done a lot of bad things. There's people that have done a lot of good things too. Hitler was a fucking vegetarian and a fucking painter, you know?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that he...
And there's going to be people out there...
I can't believe I'm using Hitler as an example of...
No, but I think that's good because it goes back to like how people view good and bad, right? Because there's people who do think Hitler was doing the right thing.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Sure. I'm saying it's in the minority, but there are people that feel that way.
And there's people that think that Hitler was pure evil.
Right.
Which he did some of the worst, and that's why everyone always uses Hitler as like the be-all, end-all. You know, you're bad. Oh, you're being like Hitler. Hold on.
There's one more category.
Let me finish. But there's no such thing as an evil person. Hitler was not doing what he did because he was thinking, I'm going to destroy humanity. I'm going to wreck the world.
That's absolutely not his intent.
He thinks that he was the hero. In his mind,
he wanted to make Germany the center of humanity.
Exactly. So again,
he didn't want to kill everybody.
Exactly. This comes back to my point.
He wanted to get rid of the communists and the Jews. That's what he said.
He was the hero. He was the hero in his own mind.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. But there's a third category that would say that basically he was the embodiment of the plans of people who operate above governments. It's actually pretty easy to demonstrate.
He was the embodiment of people that plan to act above governments.
Oh, absolutely.
As in he just does what the fuck he wants?
Well, and you know what? My recall on it is not...
From the point.
What's the point? What point are we making? That there's no bad people? What, because
I think yes. I think because with Hitler in his mind,
so funny. It's so funny. It's remarkable to me. It's like, okay, so basically, I start this whole thing because there's a reference to a good person, and this is somehow circled around to the fact that you basically want to challenge me on that there's no bad people.
Yeah, because correct. You said there's no good people.
All that does is give cover to people who commit the most hideous actions. Is that what you... holy fuckballs.
If you're going to complain...
That is shocking.
If you're going to complain that gives cover to people that do bad actions...
Isn't that what Bernie Sanders did last night?
By your own logic, then your theory of good and bad people also dismisses people who strive to do good things in this world and make a positive impact on this world.
There's another thing that doesn't matter is people's intent.
Intent is a big deal.
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
there. Intent is a huge.
Oh, no, it
deal.
is. It's extremely important.
People can do things that seem good at face value.
Oh, yeah.
But when you examine the intent behind them, they are nefarious.
Or the actions,
It is not pure.
It's hideous.
So
I can say something real quick. I think we tend to judge people, whether they're good or bad, more based off their actions.
No, I think it's based more on what people around us think.
Intentions, though. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Because the action could be
the
bad.
innocent dupe.
The action could be bad, but the intention could be good.
You know what?
Maybe I slammed on my brakes on the highway to avoid killing a child.
Well, see, that's
right?
a good example.
Now,
This is a good example.
Thank you.
That actually gets an individual.
Okay, we'll let him tell his
Right.
example.
Right. So you all think this asshole just slammed on his brakes on the highway and just inconvenienced literally hundreds of people. But you know what? I saved a life. So even though all you see is my action, you didn't see that little girl across the street.
Right.
Yeah. What was my intention behind it? My intention was to not kill this little girl.
And it's tricky, right? Because you never know somebody's intention unless you truly like kind of know them as a person or talk to them. So when you're like judging people, deciding if this is good, this is bad, do I like this, do I not? You're judging them based off all the actions and not the intentions. You agree with that, right? Yeah, intentions do matter.
Intentions are so much harder to tease out, though.
It's harder, exactly, and that's the one. Like that's the problem when it comes to like all this shit.
Actions are visible.
Oh, visible.
Actions hit the objective
and
world
I think,
that we all have to deal with. Versus intention. Intention is just what someone thought what they thought they were trying to.
And I think I can
do.
tie this back into what we were talking about with God and creation. And everything is like that's why. I feel like that's why science has converted so many people to being atheistic is because they can show it. They can show you graphs. They can show you numbers. They can show you charts. They show you all these things. When believing in God, it comes from right here for me. Something you can't see.
Or maybe
that's seen as believing.
Maybe actually what it is it's a reflection of the temptation story that people who lived in paradise still made the wrong choice. Maybe.
Well, I think it comes down to when it comes to making choices, we have to fight our desires and our preferences. When it comes to a lot of shit.
Ooh, that gets to the reptile brain, if you will.
And that's a whole because
thing.
Well, that's what it is. But I've been thinking a lot about just free will. I've been listening to fucking this audiobook that Phil told me. It's called Human Action. It talks about free will and how humans make choices and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
and one thing that, like, the one part that really got my brain going, like,
talk about this because you're reading Human Action for the first time. Do you know that people?
Well, I'm listening to it.
Well, okay, it doesn't matter if it's the audio book or not. But I'm telling you, if you make a little video journal, video journal, and like put Ludwig von Mises on it. I'm telling you, people who go to that website, Mises.org. You know, the university with the free library and all of the article writers and all of those people, they'll see that video.
Yeah.
People love accounts of people being exposed to that kind of material the first time.
Well, that's why to me, like, after listening to this human video, like Ludwig von Mises dude, it's actually given me more belief, more faith, and more evidence that God does exist because he gave us free will. He gave us a spirit, and he gave us the ability we can fight our sexual desires. We can choose, even though I prefer to go to bed, I can choose to get my ass up and go to the gym. I have the ability to make that choice. If I'm hungry, I can choose not to eat. You know what I mean? Animals don't have that. We have that, and it's obviously something special because we're the only fucking people that do.
That's an example of why God exists.
To me, yeah. To me, after listening to this,
free will. I did not see that coming.
So
okay,
to me, free will is something. To me, free will is something that God gifted us. I believe
it is. Oh, it's wonderful. You know what's really remarkable is that the jump from animal, like an evolved animal that just does what it does, right, on instinct, and it eats and it breeds and it does what it does, to having consciousness. That's only like step 17 in the complete disconnect of nothing to willfully acting human beings. There's probably 117.
Humans are the only thing in the world that has consciousness. We can do,
Yeah.
we
no,
can,
no,
Oh my
we're
God,
the
now we're
only
gonna make
thing in the world.
presentations
we
on
can do
on
sign
animal
language with
consciousness.
gorillas.
We're the
and
because we
communicate
taught
with
them that though. Because we
Sure,
taught them that.
Sure,
though.
but they
you
plenty-
can train an animal to
because
do things, but the animal can't choose to do
we
things.
taught them our language. If they had the ability, they could teach us their language. Would you say that animals do not communicate with each other?
So,
no,
animals
some
have
do,
their own
some don't.
language.
Are you familiar?
Animals easily look at sonar. Look
Okay.
at whales talking to each other. Okay, hold on.
No, go ahead.
My turn.
Yeah.
My turn
Okay,
for a
yeah.
second. Okay.
Okay.
There are again, as with everything in the world, it's a spectrum. Okay. There isn't any. You can't take a magic marker and draw a magic
Wait.
line
Wait,
between
what's a spectrum?
humans. Everything is
Everything's on a spectrum.
Yes. Okay.
So there's
Hold on. Let me finish. Again, I can't make it 2 sentences without you jumping in. You gotta.
everything's on a
hold it.
spectrum is a
Wait, hold it
pretty.
for a second.
Come on, we
mean,
need
that-
to bring out the.
That's a
Okay,
pretty
hold it for a
bold
second.
assertion.
Talking bottle.
I just
This is a talking
Okay.
bottle.
the moment I heard
got the
spectrum.
bottle,
No, you don't have the bottle.
We got the bottle.
Whoever's got the bottle is only 1
Okay.
second speak.
Okay. So
No.
it's hard to maintain
Trying
my
to
train
give
of
you
thought when I'm
advice.
constantly interrupted. Humans are not the only thing that have consciousness, okay? Everything has consciousness. Fucking ants have consciousness. They are doing a thing. They know what they're doing. They can go choose to go do something else. Guess what? You get a retarded ant that's born out of an egg that doesn't do the right thing. He's not going to be very successful, okay? Oh, Phil.
No, I'm just.
You can't
You
even,
don't
you
have
can't
the bottle,
even,
dude.
You can't even contain it with body language either.
I know.
Hold on.
It's impossible. It's just not. That's not part of my constitution.
I just saw a thing on the interwebs today about how
Chad's got the bottle, so.
Do you think you're the only one who uses grandma to watch your kids while you're busy? And it showed this thing with orca
that's
whales.
mean.
Orca whales, where grandma was
hell,
watching
I
the
thought-
calf while mom and dad went off and did their own thing. Look at dolphins and the way that they communicate with each other and the things that they do for each other. Did you know that humans are not the only animal in the world that engages in homosexuality? Male dolphins will fuck around with each other for fun.
But do they know that that's another male?
Yep.
Do it? Do they know, or do they just see a dolphin and want to
They're
fuck?
not successfully having sex. They're just pleasuring each other.
Okay.
That's a thing.
So they
That
just like
happens.
getting off.
One interjection.
Same thing with cats. How they say that humans are the only animal in the world that kills for fun. Nope. Orca whales and the typical house cat have been documented to just plain kill for fun.
Mhm.
I think I heard something
For
about
sport.
leopards once, but I don't know if that's really true because I think that was kind of like a wild situation. Anyway, the point here is that there's nothing special about human consciousness. Okay, I shouldn't say that. There is the one thing that's special about human consciousness
Yep.
is how elevated it is. Okay. We are not the only beings in the world that are conscious. Everything has consciousness. You hit a dog, it gets upset. Okay. Everything understands to some level, to some degree, cause and effect. Okay. If you hit that dog after it jumps on the counter or whatever.
Cause and effect doesn't require consciousness.
Phil, you don't have the talking bottle.
Okay.
But it doesn't. I mean, come on.
Just let Chad finish.
No, I agree
man,
with that.
you know
cause and
that.
effect. But I feel like I need to explain that in order to get this point across because you're saying that humans are the only things that have consciousness.
Yeah, but an instinctual reaction, that's part of cause and effect. That doesn't say anything
No,
about
this goes back to the
consciousness.
same thing Doug was just talking about how when
man.
we
A tree
hold on.
grows towards the light. Is
dude,
it
you don't have the
conscious?
talking bottle.
Phil, shut up.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
listen. When we as animals, okay, you see $1 million sitting in a briefcase on the sidewalk and there's no one around. Your gut instinct is like, holy shit, that's mine. Got
Yeah.
it. Finders keepers, I'm $1 million rich, right?
Right.
But your mature conscious brain goes, wait, Doug, maybe that's not the right decision. Maybe I should turn it into charity.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
I
that
should
comes
turn
with questioning
into
your
the police
integrity.
officers. Yeah, exactly. So, same thing with a dog. Okay, I'll bring that back to the dog.
Okay.
Even though you can put a bone on the counter and that dog knows that bone is not for him, Does he still want it?
Yes.
You goddamn right he does.
Okay.
But
so a dog is able to fight his desires too.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's how you train dogs. You see my point?
I do.
See my point?
I do.
So,
Okay.
all
Okay.
you've done with training a dog?
Other creatures. Let me finish my point, and then I will pass this to you gladly. I will pass this to you happily. So, even though that dog knows, I want that bone is for me. I fucking want it. I'm going to love that fucking thing. Is he going to go get it? No, because you've taught him. He has learned that is not for him right now. You need to wait your fucking turn, and I'll give you that bone when I'm ready to give it to you. Or maybe that bone's not for you at all. Yeah. And that dog will learn to fight his lizard brain, so to speak, or reptile brain, whatever it's called, and wait. We will fight his instincts.
He'll fight his desires to want that bone.
So
he chooses not to jump on the counter and eat that bone.
That dog is making a choice, a conscious choice that proves my point about consciousness among other creatures than just humans. Please respond.
Phil doesn't agree. Phil's shaking his head over there.
Why does a dog need to be trained?
Because the same reason humans need to be trained.
Okay, wait. I think I see what Phil.
Boom.
No.
The same reason humans need to be trained. Phil.
Why does a dog need to be trained?
Because it can't make the right choice. Because it's an animal,
just like humans.
No, because you need to alter its order of preference.
Just like humans.
It's just you didn't accomplish anything with the dog thing.
I think he
differentiate the dog from humans, please, Phil.
No,
differentiate the dog. The dog.
Basically,
from
all you've done is justify people categorizing other people as animals. That's all you did.
That's not at all what I was talking about.
So, Phil,
you know what? When if you go to any of these countries in Africa where the black governments are now murdering white people because they farm and produce food, you go, have at it.
Well, let's stay a little bit on topic here before we get
Doug,
too far.
how about you respond to my point? What do you think?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I do absolutely see what you're saying. And the only thing I guess would be like as a rebuttal I could say about that, is there a difference between the dog's consciousness and it just being trained in the sense like it knows something bad's going to happen? No, I mean, does the dog actually... Is it choosing to make that choice, or has it been stapled into his brain as repetition? Because he always went for that bone, and he got smacked, and he got smacked, and he got smacked, and he got smacked, and he got smacked.
This is Pavlov. It's the same exact thing with people, Doug.
Okay.
So when you're a child and you go hop on the piano and start banging on it, and then your mom comes in and says, "That is not a toy. Stop."
Yeah.
Does it happen like that? No. I probably go bang on that piano 3 more times until my mom tells me, fuck no, stop it, and I'm in timeout for the 5th time.
Yeah, you got to push it to the limit.
I should probably really stop fucking with that piano.
Right. But some people never do stop fucking with shit, though. And does that go to just people who can't learn? And I would say another thing that does...
Some dogs never learn, too.
This is something I thought of. This is while you bringing up the dog point that separates our human consciousness and free will from the dogs. I think is that we have the ability to adapt, and the animals don't.
Yeah, they do.
Like maybe to certain standards, but not to the level that we can.
Oh, I agree entirely.
Yeah.
So humans can adapt a whole lot to a much greater degree than animals can, simply because of cognitive power.
And some animals don't adapt, though.
Our cognitive power is what separates us.
And do some animals...
It's not God.
Right.
It's not any kind of supernatural thing. We developed a bigger muscle than any other creature on the planet, our brains. Okay? Mm-hmm. We have a much greater ability, not inherent, but an ability to reflect on our own actions and to basically self-critique. Where, I think this...
We were talking about spending time with ourselves, too.
So we, without being corrected by a higher power like mom or dad or God, we can do something and then go, that was probably the wrong thing to do. I kind of feel bad about that.
You feel that way about that.
Right. So we have that ability to self-correct, to self-course correct, right?
Well, animals do not have that ability.
I think some animals do. Among apes, for example, I mean, again, it comes back to this.
Yep.
What has a higher cognitive ability? If you're talking about, wasps, They probably don't have that much cognitive ability to self-reflect on their actions.
No.
If you're talking about chimps, though, if I go steal your meal as a chimp and then you're all upset about it, I could probably look at you and go, oh, wow, well, he's smaller than me. He's not going to do a damn thing about it, but I kind of feel bad. Like, maybe I'll spare him a chunk next time. And that happens. That's observable. That happens
Chimps
in
do
nature.
that? You've seen them do that?
Yes, those kind of things happen. And that's just one example. We could also talk about other intelligent species in the world, like whales or dolphins or other intelligent primates, okay? Even cats and dogs, even pigs are pretty fucking smart. Now, that doesn't mean that they're on the same level as humans, but they still have the same tools that we have, just not on the same scale that we have, okay? They are conscious. They understand that their actions have consequences in the world around them, but not to the degree that we do. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does make sense.
Okay.
Do you want to say something, Phil? Let me give you the bottle.
Give Phil the bottle.
Give Phil the bottle.
You were quiet for a long time there.
You were quiet for a long
job.
time. Yeah. You did well. Well, to me, this is all seems to be. But now we're tiptoeing on the boundaries of the evolution question. Is what to me is what it sounds like.
Yeah, let's talk about evolution.
I think we can get into that. Oh, it's 7:15. Are you good on time?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Another half hour.
Another 30 minutes.
Sure.
We'll go for it. Okay, we'll
it.
cut it off 7:45, 8 o'clock here, whatever.
Can I just recount what it's just a short term. Just
thank you.
So we go from nothing to material to all these disconnected steps of whatever to get to the point of consciousness, only to observe things that cause us to assign the quality of consciousness to shit that happened before us.
I'm sorry. Say that again. What?
Well, we're assigning this quality to animals that I guess I have to say, in my opinion, they don't have.
Well, we first assign that quality to ourselves. What gives us the right to assign that quality to ourselves, but not animals?
No,
do you not agree with what Chad said that animals have? Hold on, that animals have the same type of mind that we do, just not to the larger scale.
No.
So you don't believe that the dog? So you don't believe the dog is making that conscious decision to not get the bone?
No.
Then what do you think that? Why is the dog? Okay, so my question to you would be, why is the dog choosing not to get that bone then?
It is the animal qualities that people exhibit when put under pressure by people with power that causes this misdirection of reassigning anthropomorphic qualities to animals. Okay, the Pavlov's dog experiment is significant because it
Chad's laughing. I'm not familiar with that experiment, to be honest.
Demonstrates how people take advantage of people by giving them this repetitive signaling.
Can I ask? Can one of you guys just give me a summarized version of this experience?
Okay, basically what he did is he did this thing where he basically trained these dogs to they would come to feed when he would ring a bell.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now
he rings the bell,
you know that an animal characteristic is that if you train them over time to respond to a signal to do a certain thing, that's what they'll do. Okay, that is not trying to reverse.
I think it's called classic conditioning.
You're inverting the direction of what the observations actually imply. Homo dolphins. What that means to me is that people who decide to engage in that activity are exhibiting animal characteristics. That doesn't assign consciousness to animals.
So people...
What? That's bizarre to me.
But you could say the same thing about animals that will be producing babies. Like, okay, these gorillas fucked and make a baby. We fucking make a baby. That's an animal characteristic.
That's the result of the mechanism of sexual reproduction.
But
you
it's still an animal.
Why would a dolphin choose to have a homosexual relationship with another dolphin?
You can believe that evolved over time, or you can believe that the world was created. Either way, it makes no difference to how sexual reproduction functions, does it?
No one's talking about
it. Doesn't matter.
Sexual reproduction behavior of sentient.
They're not dolphin.
I think what Phil's going at. So what you're saying with the whole dog, the ringing the bell
generally,
thing, they just get trained.
I'm not willing to include any animals in the category of sentient. I mean, you have to be. Please, I just have one question. If you guys can both agree to this, I'll just shut up. Is it possible that the same presentation of behaviors between animals and humans could be used to say that humans are behaving like animals, or that animals have this human characteristic. It has to apply in both directions if you're just using the observations to make the implications.
Humans
Right?
are animals.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what. So
God does not exist. We agree.
God.
Finally, I win.
Humans fall into the animal category created by human biologists. Therefore, God doesn't exist.
I want to just hear
That's about how it works. Yeah.
now. What the theory of evolution? They say it started with a lightning bolt creating cells and shit.
Yes.
If I'm correct.
The primordial
soup.
Primordial soup. Is that what it's called? Okay.
By a lightning bolt.
Okay, so
Break it down for us,
Actually,
Chad.
this stuff is
if I
really
may,
interesting.
give me the bottle.
No, you don't need the
I'm
bottle.
gonna take the bottle now.
I'm thoroughly interested in this stuff because people are trying to do it all the time.
Okay.
It's very interesting.
So evolution doesn't come from the theory about primordial soup. I'll talk about primordial soup real quick, and then I'll talk about evolution.
Did you read
and then we'll
Origin
come
of
back to that.
Species?
No, I have not. I've studied.
I have a feeling you get it.
Chad's a smart guy, though.
I do.
This is a restaurant manager,
on.
people. He's smarter than most of the
Yeah,
college
restaurant
grads.
managers know everything.
Represent.
Not true. Not
Your
true.
job doesn't mean
Hold on.
anything about
Exactly.
what you know.
It doesn't.
about-
I
yeah,
agree
I'm
with
a
that.
bartender.
100%. So, primordial soup is the theory that if there was no life on Earth, that this is okay. We're trying to figure out
It's a
how life
possibility.
started, right?
It's a possible.
So we look at we look at what would the world look like without even a single-celled organism? Okay, not even that. Not even that. No bacteria. No nothing. Okay, just elements.
So
okay?
what about? Okay, can I ask? So is there trees? Because that's an organism.
No trees.
trees.
No trees.
Can I give a?
No life at all.
It's a
Imagine
transition.
this world
It's like
for
a
me. Okay?
desert.
I'm
It
gonna take you
relates
on a
back
journey.
to what we were
Yeah.
I'm gonna
talking
take you on a
about.
journey. Okay.
Can I just
Hold on.
have? It's just 3 words.
We're gonna count them.
Hold on.
No, no.
I'll pass you the bottle now.
It's the transition from chemistry to biology.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's
yes.
a barrier.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're trying to
Yes.
figure out how you can reason to it.
No, that's not a
Simply
barrier.
from
No,
material.
No, that is not a barrier.
No, that's exactly what they're doing.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Material
no,
and
it's not.
energy.
Absolutely
I love
not.
how
Absolutely not.
You guys agree
Absolutely not.
with a lot of things, but then disagree
So
with
wait
like
a
the same
second.
shit.
Okay.
No.
Hold on, he's got the talking bottle.
No,
He's got the talking
no.
bottle.
No, because it
no.
relates to just what we were talking about. Are we now going to say that because of that somebody's sciencing some ability to attribute characteristics of biology to chemical processes? Is that what we're fucking doing?
Let me steal the bottle from you real quick.
Oh, for your
Just
glass.
like we're
Okay.
trying to ascribe human consciousness to animals,
Hey, hold on,
even
you
though
see this? It's not going to you.
consciousness
Okay.
It's going to chat.
evolved in humans from animals. No, is that not
Okay.
legitimate?
Okay.
It's a parallel.
Oh, okay.
It's an exact metaphor, one for the other.
We'll get there.
Okay, let
Phil.
Chad go and say his bit.
We
Let
will
him-
get there.
We're going
We'll
to
get there.
what Chad
We'll get
wanted
there.
to say about
Okay.
how evolution, the lightning bolt and this creating the cells and there's
Okay.
no life right
If
now.
I may, this may take 5 minutes.
Okay,
It may
if-
take 4 minutes.
Well,
Okay,
Phil-
I'll do my best to
Well,
make
you
this
know what?
succinct.
Phil goes on
Here
for
we go.
20
Certainly
minutes.
That's
will.
true. That's
so
true. So
it's
here we go.
okay. You take as much time
Okay,
as you
I'm
need.
going to step back and go to evolution for a second. And Phil, I'm going to punch you in the face if you. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
I'll punch him in the face for
Just-
ya.
Let me go for a second.
I've been working out.
about it that's true because
I-
I accept one part of it.
Phil,
that's being
you can't
true.
you can't talk shit to anybody about going off topic. Okay, so I'm gonna stay on topic. Here we go. So I'm gonna go back to evolution. We'll come back to primordial soup. Okay, evolution.
Just because I bring up stuff that people don't understand how it relates doesn't mean that it isn't on topic.
Phil,
I'm sorry that people have fucking spheres of their expanded reasoning the size of a fucking pea.
Phil, can I say something real quick?
It
Just
speaks
like
to your communication skills.
Here, what I would say is like, think of the people that are just gonna listen to this. They don't want to listen to like two people just like trying to yell and talk over to each other. They
No.
want to hear just a good back and forth.
I constantly watch
So-
videos where people are allowed to go down. They're just allowed to go down a path with a fundamental contradiction right at step one, and they just go on and on forever.
Oh, I
And it's
listened. I've been listening
I'm
to it for
being-
hours.
I'm being accused of stuff here, and
No,
you
you're not.
guys, that's not. It's not. No.
Okay, well, we'll let Chad go now.
Okay.
Sorry, Chad.
So evolution is the theory that over time, species change. Okay. Now, how
High
do
five.
these species change? How do these species change? When we reproduce, we have a male and a female who combine DNA strains that then creates a new individual based on mother and father's DNA as well. Okay. I don't know what the numbers are, but it's like in the millions or billions or something crazy of these DNA strains. And so it's basically a copy paste. It's I'm going to take half of your paper, your mom. I'm going to take half of your paper, your dad.
Yep.
Copy, paste. Now we have one new paper. That's Chad. Okay.
Okay.
Now, with how many variables there are there, GATA or GATC is just DNA. It's just those 4 molecules where G's always line up with T's and A's always line up with C's or whatever it is. I can't remember right now. So it's basically binary. Okay. So there's 4 chemicals that make up a DNA strain.
No, it's quaternary.
No, it's not. No, it's not, because
That's
G's
because
always
A
match
and
up with.
G and C and T go
So
together.
it's basically it's A's and T's always go together
but it
or
is
whatever.
because they can switch.
No.
They can
Just
switch.
listen.
wait.
Just listen.
Phil,
Just listen. Just listen.
Remember, just wait.
It's more complex than binary.
Okay, just let him go.
I'm
just
boiling
is.
it down. I'm boiling it down to simpler because this is not
Coded.
this is not the key point. Okay, so basically you're looking at binary. Okay. And with so many variables there and how long that strand is, there are mistakes that get made. Okay, this is where you have mutations. Okay, you'll have some fetuses that have errors in their DNA that disqualify them from even being birthed. Okay, oh, you're fucked up. You're not even gonna survive conception. Okay.
Okay.
There are other things that turn out as minor disabilities. You're deaf, or you have Down syndrome, or you're blind, or you have a club foot, blah, blah, blah. There are also very, very, very subtle fuck-ups that maybe make you a bit weaker or a bit stronger or have better eyesight or worse eyesight, okay? This is where you have people or creatures, animals that are now better suited or worse suited to surviving their environment, okay? Let's say it's me versus Doug, okay?
Yep.
Doug is born with fit genes. He's got the genes that makes him produce muscle maybe 10% better than the average.
He's got a bigger dick than him. Like,
yep, bigger dick too. He can make the ladies happy, okay? Let's say Chad has the genes that makes me 10% weaker and a 10% smaller dick, okay? just for funsies here. So not only am I going to attract fewer females, but Doug is going to attract more females. So now maybe I have 10 offspring. Doug's probably got 100. Okay?
I'm fucking Genghis Khan.
Yep,
dude.
Genghis Khan.
Fucking
Genghis Khan.
everyone.
Banging everybody, having kids everywhere. So here you have more offspring on the Doug genealogy versus the Chad genealogy. And those kids, not all of them are going to get that stronger, bigger dick gene, okay? But some of them might. And you know what?
Some of them might even have a bigger dick.
Exactly. Those ones are going to be more successful at reproducing, okay? Now we have evolution. Look at one example of this, okay, is bats. Look at bats. Bats, I think, are the only flying mammal, okay?
Yeah.
So people look at bats and go, oh, wow,
the flying
that's
squirrels,
amazing.
They actually
flying squirrels,
they only glide.
That's exactly where I'm going with this. So flying squirrels do not fly. They have webbing between their front paws.
Fucking awesome, though.
their
God,
torso.
go watch a video of flying squirrels. They're
And
fucking cool.
They're pretty sweet.
They have webbing. They have webbing between their front legs, their torso, and their back legs. Okay, flying squirrels are literally an example of something that's on the path of evolution to becoming a flying animal.
So you think it's possible in, like, say, 100 years that flying squirrels could just...
Oh, much longer than
They're
that.
just gonna be flying.
Much longer, much longer. But yes, I mean, so yes, if you're around in 5,000 years, or I don't know how long it takes, but if you have more, so right now you've got flying squirrels out there, right?
Yeah.
Some of them are better at gliding than others because some of them have a better, more encompassing webbing along their torso than others. You know what? Other ones even still are going to have longer front arms, okay? And then other ones still are going to start shedding that layer on their back half, so they're more aerodynamic, okay?
Yeah.
So the more and more generations that come and go, you're going to get flying squirrels that are becoming closer and closer and closer to actually fucking flying, okay? So That's just one example of evolution.
Wait.
Now, hold on. I know this is a long one for me,
okay,
and then
but Phil,
I will cede the floor. Now we're going to circle back to...
This is what you do.
We are going to circle back to primordial soup, okay?
Okay.
So that whole discussion that I just put out there is about evolution in general, okay?
Yes.
All of that means nothing unless you have a starting point, right?
Origins.
Exactly. Origins.
Excellent.
So all of
I'm
that
glad we're
means
tying
nothing.
this back
All of
to
that means
everything.
nothing unless you have an origin. Okay.
Yep.
So people like to say that, okay, so even when I'm having conversations with relatively intelligent or reasonable religious people who will concede the fact that evolution is real, they will bring up primordial soup or bring up origins as a sticking point that it can't be true because where did it all begin? Okay. So bring yourself back to, billions of years ago when we have a globe, we have an earth or whatever, a flat plane. That
It works either way.
a globe. We're going to go with a globe. We have Earth, okay, with no life at all. It just finished cooling. Okay, the moon, a major asteroid hit the Earth. The moon broke off. That started orbiting. The Earth has cooled down. Now we have liquid oceans. We have mountains. We have snow. We have all kinds of environmental factors, but no life yet. Okay, no life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think life is going to start randomly in the dirt in the flat plains of Iowa? Probably not.
Nothing can be created from nothing. I'm glad we're tying this back to the beginning.
Something can't be created from nothing. Yes.
Yes, something.
Yes.
That's what I mean. Something.
Yes.
Nothing
Yes.
can create something.
Correct.
And right now, the Earth has nothing.
Right. No, it does. It's got some stuff. Okay. So this is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
You can create something more. Something that's never existed before from the parts of what currently does exist. Okay. So right now we're going to go back to primordial soup. Okay.
Yep,
So
okay.
what scientists have postulated as the most probable way that life has started, aside from panspermia, which is where life existed on a different planet and then that planet died and exploded
Yeah,
and an asteroid hit Earth with
that's just the
with
removal
microbes
of
on
the
it.
question to
Right.
another level.
Well,
Bullshit
that's
deal.
another plausible answer to how life started on Earth, but it doesn't answer the question as to how life started.
Yeah,
period.
it's not an origin.
Exactly. I agree with you. I agree with you.
I
It's
hate
not an
that. I
origin.
hate that one.
Yes, panspermia. Panspermia.
It must have been aliens.
Yeah, right, right.
Jesus Christ! If you watched Expelled by Ben Stein, you watched that.
I'm taking
didn't
the
you?
other bottle away from you now.
No.
Now both bottles are.
Dude,
Let him finish.
Everybody in the world
She's
could
almost done.
benefit from watching that. Ben Stein Expelled.
You can
Okay, let's
get
wait.
you can get complex chemistry in, we say, this primordial soup. Okay, picture a pool of water that is on the coast of an ocean on an island that's right next to a volcano, and a storm comes through.
So there's no life right now, but there's a bunch of environmental effects all about to kind of come to sugar, like Powerpuff Girls.
Yes.
Sugar, spice, and everything nice.
Go.
That was the best ever! But it is! It's Powerpuff Girls creating life!
So okay, that's I'm sorry to interrupt. You can keep going.
So come with me to Hawaii, okay? Where you're in the middle of the ocean. You have so many chemical and elemental factors from the ocean itself, also from the volcanoes that are forming the island, also from the island itself, which has all kinds of chemistry.
You know what this is making me think of? The elements. So you got water, you got fire, you got earth, you got air.
Yep. And now things are blowing things from other parts of the world. Okay. So now suddenly, it's been waiting for millions of years. This moment. It's been and suddenly, finally, now we've got a storm. This lightning strikes this pool of water, which has all kinds of stuff going on in it, and we suddenly finally have a compound protein, which then replicates itself just like DNA. Now, this takes another million years
for sure,
and then finally,
but it only takes one though. Is the thing? It only takes one.
Exactly. Now you have simple GTCA. Those four.
What is GTCA? Is that an acronym?
Yep. Those are the four things of DNA.
Oh, okay.
They're acids. It's a particular type of acid. They're actually complex molecules.
Life is all boiled down to small, minuscule microscopic building blocks, okay?
All stacking on top of each other.
Exactly.
And
so now
finally coming together.
the simplest thing that literally 1 and 2, 3 and 4 finally connected.
Right.
Now they're gonna start they're gonna start creating 1, 2, 3, 4 infinitely because they are they want to self-replicate. They're gonna find other elements and then attach themselves to that because of chemistry, where other things connect with each other.
Yep.
Simply because of the laws of physics,
and chemistry.
Right?
Yes.
So that's how that we currently think life
So
could
this is all,
have started. No.
this is a theory, right?
Oh,
this is just
This okay. So the theory of evolution is much stronger than the theory of primordial soup. Theory is a very, very, very strong word. People say, "Oh, it's just a theory." No, theories are a big deal because you can't say it's a be all end all.
That's one thing people really get confused.
No, the theory of evolution should be considered a law, but the only reason it's not is because this world. It should be. The only reason it's not is because this world is so fixated on religion. Because everyone thinks that there has to be some kind of a higher power.
No.
Therefore, people dismiss evolution out of hand, even though it makes perfect sense and we have a shit ton of evidence for it, versus people who believe in God have zero evidence for it. Again, it comes back to evidence, it comes back to science, and that's where I hang my hat. That's where I plant my flag.
Fair enough.
I'm ready to see the floor.
Yeah, okay. We had to get 2 talking bottles.
Wait, is waiting a characteristic of consciousness?
Is waiting a characteristic of a consciousness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waiting?
You
Because
choose to
he
wait.
anthropomorphized the entire story. Is creating a characteristic of random probability?
Is creating a characteristic of random probability?
No.
Well, random probability can't create, though.
No.
Right? Random probability can't create something.
Yes, it can.
Creation implies intent. And if you don't believe me, read the
I'm not talking about creation.
Dictionary definition.
Okay, we're getting stuck in the definitions of words. I see what you're getting at.
Okay,
but
Phil, look at me. Phil, look at me. Look me in the eye.
I don't even know what you want me to respond to after all of that.
Look me in the eye. Look at me.
You guys are so cute.
to what I just said versus waiting for your turn to talk? Can you respond to what I just said?
No, those were 2 responses that I just wrote down.
Were you listening to what I just said?
Yeah.
Okay, so respond to the points that I was making. What are your responses?
Do you agree?
Talk about evolution.
Do you agree or disagree with primordial soup and everything that he just said? Do you agree that there's like the random elements could all occur, just to sum it up, the Powerpuff Girls, the fucking the earth, the water, the fire, the water, to create the cell.
Just one fundamental statement to make.
Okay.
There's an aspect of the evolution narrative that is observable, and it's natural selection in the animal kingdom. Human beings they're able to exercise a conscious contradiction of environmental factors. So we have essentially within the human population, whatever evolution does, if you believe in it,
humans have circumvented it.
Yeah, but we've obstructed the progress of evolution. Yeah, exactly.
To humanity. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's okay. Take your time.
So what from natural selection?
Okay.
The one observation that I always go back to is the Industrial Revolution in Europe. The Industrial Revolution in Europe. Yeah, the white and the black moth.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
I just love it how you guys agree with some things, and then the other things you just fucking butt heads to it.
Phil,
how can I disagree with something that was observed?
We need to live with each other on that.
That's
movie.
why, dude. That's why this is so frustrating.
The Lighthouse. I haven't seen it yet, but I feel like it's 2 crazy dudes that live with each other and then bounce their craziness off each other. Yeah, Willem Dafoe, and it's new. It's in theaters like right now.
I haven't even heard of this one.
Oh, it's like a big deal. But anyway,
you know what?
I feel like if you and me got stuck in a lighthouse together for a while, we might solve some problems.
What is that one? What was that weird movie? Wasn't it? It was both
Shutter Island.
Yeah, DiCaprio and Kingsley. You knew exactly what I was talking about.
You guys have
that
so
is fucking
much
weird.
in common.
Okay, so
you guys should date.
we have an insurmountable observation about the Moths that lived
Oh,
in
Dougie wants in too? All right.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
the Moths.
I mean a little bit.
The Moths. The Moths that lived in the European birch, any kind of forest that had birch trees in it.
Say that again.
Sorry, we were fucking around.
Basically, all it is that you have an area where there's a lot of birch trees with white bark. Industrial activity puts a lot of particulates in the air. It darkens the bark, and the surviving moth population changes its color. Now, there are two
Sorry to correct you, but I think they actually got lighter. It was all the white soot that made that.
No.
I think they went from
I'm
light.
Well, birch trees are white, dude.
No. I think they went from dark to light.
No.
You.
They went from light to dark.
Either way.
Doesn't matter.
Either way.
I can tell you. The only reason I know that is that when I was growing up, 37th and Lyndale, North Minneapolis, our neighbor on Aldrich, 37th and Aldrich, almost every tree in his lot was a birch tree, and they were all white.
Cheers, guys. 100. Thank you.
And
100.
I have to admit, the possibility that I have the order wrong and that the first observations were of dark birch trees with dark moths, and that maybe the reason
That's
that
not important.
The reason I think it's the order that I'm
get back
saying
to the
is important.
substance of the matter.
Anyway.
The birch trees, light, dark doesn't fucking matter.
I'm just saying.
The moths are a great example. So
Yes.
continue. What happened, Phil, with the moths? What happened?
Well, they changed their color.
Yep.
Because there is something in their genetic coding
within one generation.
from
No,
well,
over the
insects,
course of
no, this was
over the course of
I don't
many
know what the
generations.
period
Yeah.
of time was.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you make the end observation and the percentage of dark versus whatever, the ratio changed because of the way the trees looked.
No.
Then you don't even need to know
No.
why the color
No.
of the trees changed.
Okay, this is what you're okay.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Now I think we're talking about different shit.
No, okay. So when the Industrial Revolution happened in Great Britain,
I'm talking about Germany because the observations I'm talking about were in the continental Europe, not Britain.
Okay, let's go with what you're talking about here. Okay, so let's say all the moths are light colored. Okay, when the Industrial Revolution happens in Europe. Okay.
No, but what is the condition of the
Dude,
tree?
let him fucking talk,
No,
dude.
because you have to talk about the trees and the insects. If you're going to talk about what happens later with the trees and the insects.
Let me paint my picture.
Please.
Let me paint my picture.
We have to,
and then I want you to
we
paint
gotta
your
be
picture
solid
too.
on the front end, though,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
But let him illustrate it without you interrupting.
Let me paint my picture here, and then I want you to paint your picture too. So when you have the Industrial Revolution just getting started, you have all of these white trees. Let's say it goes from light to dark. Okay. Which
that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah. No, that might be 100% true. I'm not sure if they went from light to dark or dark to light. The point is that there was this one species of moth or butterfly. I think it was a moth. Okay.
It is. It's a moth. I know it is.
Yes. It's a classic example of modern day evolution. Okay. So you have the Industrial Revolution takes place where everything starts being produced by massive engines. Okay, we are now burning fossil fuels at an immense rate. Okay, so with no regard to the environment. Okay, so we are pumping out.
See, regard
so
for the environment
much soot.
is irrelevant.
We are pumping out so much soot. So now everything starts turning black. Okay, so these white moths that were landing on white birch trees and were camouflaging accurately and were not getting picked up by birds and other predators were suddenly confronted with the fact that holy shit, I'm a white moth and I'm landing on the side of this building that's super black.
Confronted with anything because it's a random walk.
Shut up,
based on characteristics,
okay, so
dude.
I am this white
That's
moth
why it
that's
works.
landing on the side of a building that's super black because it's covered in soot.
Yeah.
Because we're now burning all this stuff constantly. And what happened to all those moths? You know what? I'm a white moth on a black surface. I got picked off by a bird today, and all my buddies got picked off by a bird today. So
And
you know
you
what
other
happened?
moths see that and learn from it.
So what? No.
they don't
It's not about
learn
that.
from
No,
it.
it's
They
not
don't
about
get
learning
to pass
from it.
on their genes,
Exactly.
right?
Okay.
So even though 99% of me and my buddies got eaten today, one of my buddies got this dark gene, a random mutation. So you know what? He's a black moth, and he landed on this black surface. Did the birds notice him? They didn't. And you know what? He survived. You know what? You know how many kids I had? 0.
He's
you know how many
having
kids?
1,000.
You know how many kids he had? Exactly. He had 1,000 fucking kids.
Okay.
Because
So you know what happened?
fertilization is so successful.
Hold on.
Okay.
When
Wait
it gets to take place.
So
Wait,
what,
Philly.
what
Philly,
happened
wait.
in Europe in the span of one human generation, which was hundreds of moth generations, but what happened in one human generation, we were able to observe evolution at its finest.
Natural selection.
Where exactly evolution
It's
is
an
evolution
aspect.
is
It's an aspect of the overall theory.
Sure, whatever.
It is.
Okay, so natural selection basically was a major force in the evolution of that species in that time because of
That's not an
environmental
evolution.
circumstances. That is evolution.
That's an adaptation.
Evolution is adaptation.
That's
you are
it's amazing.
adapting. You are adapting to the environment
thank
you
you.
can.
Yes.
I
think you're both right.
set me up
Listen to it.
perfectly because there's two alternative explanations for that observation. One, that each kind has a genetic design that allows it to adapt to different circumstances, which we actually observed with the moths. And that has absolutely nothing to do with the alternative explanation of deep time and space and physics creating chemistry, creating biology. And the problem with that moth example is that you don't need the overall theory of evolution to acknowledge the individual aspect
You just
of
need adaptation.
All you need to acknowledge is that particular kind has within it the ability to adapt to changes in its environment.
False.
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that any species turns into any species.
Okay. No, 100% false. 100% false. No, adaptation is an animal that chooses to do something different in their own lifetime. That's adapting. Evolution is the genetic makeup of the creature itself changing. That animal, that species became a different species.
And
No. Shut the fuck up.
That's
One
where the
second.
storytelling.
You cannot shut up, Phil.
That's where the
You cannot shut
storytelling
up, dude.
overwhelms
Shut
the
up.
observations.
No. Adaptation
Hold on.
is this moth choosing to go land on a black surface because that animal, the bird, will not find me. No,
doesn't choose.
evolution is where my offspring are actually black, and then those things don't get noticed by the birds. There's a major difference there. Adaptation is changing one's self to its environment. Evolution is the offspring changing based on the environment.
So adaptation.
You fucking lose. Now what?
Well, hold on. Can I make a statement here?
Adaptation and evolution are so different.
Hold on. Can I point out a difference between
We can
adaptation and evolution real quick?
anthropomorphize the ability of a human to adapt by changing the difference in resultant generation instinction based on changes. But I think that if anybody, they would. I think that what I just presented was more palatable. We can observe a thing and attribute some power to natural. We don't need the overall narrative of evolution for that.
To me, it
No,
sounds
you're
like...
saying it's just adaptation, which is flatly at face value.
Can I say something?
It is
Let me
not
fucking
adaptation.
talk for a minute. To me, it sounds like evolution isn't a choice. Adaptation.
Yes.
That's literally all I fucking wanted to say.
But animals don't make choices.
You choose to adapt.
Yes.
Evolution, you're forced to.
Choice is a
Adaptation is
consequence
wolves
of
realizing that
consciousness.
there are no caribou left. You know what we're going to do now? We're going to hunt some fucking rats. You know what? Those wolves that chose to hunt
That's
rats,
the
they
consequence
survived.
of needing
That's
caloric
adaptation.
intake.
That's adapting. Evolution is not by choice. Evolution happens because of circumstances.
Evolution, the idea that
And I'm sorry to raise my voice, but you don't
No.
fucking listen sometimes,
No,
man.
you don't.
No, and
I
you know
just
what?
want to say that's the way you got to be
I
with
did-
him.
Hey, I did the same thing to you earlier because I did the same thing earlier.
I know.
Okay.
I'm glad
do you
this-
see
I'm
my
glad-
point? Phil, do you see my point?
What we have is
Do
that
you see my point?
Yes or no?
I'm going to interrupt you until you answer that question.
I understand.
Do you see my point?
I understand the point you're trying to make,
Okay.
but I have a counter.
Go ahead.
The observations we've been able to make, or it's the ones that people are reporting on. I mean, I watch stuff from all over the place. I mean, it's constant. I don't do anything else.
Good for you.
I mean, I take a
Credentials. I watch stuff. I read stuff all over the place. Cool. What's the point?
Well, would it
Get there.
Would it be better if I went to a school that trained me to regurgitate a particular point of view?
Oh my God, you're back to this now?
Yeah.
Make a point, man. Make a point. What's your point?
Okay.
Okay.
Say something substantive.
Well, okay. The observations about genetic mutation, random mutations from the environment and
Yes.
whatnot, it doesn't create any new information.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No,
What do
there-
you mean it's no information?
The ratio, it's like, I think it's like on the rain, it's 10,000 to 1 or something.
You're saying
Genetic mutation does not provide new information for the better function of an organism. It never does.
It never does.
Genetic mutations in organisms create,
yes.
and
yes.
so that lends evidence to the idea that natural selection is something that's built into the genetics of a particular kind. See, we don't
What?
see.
No.
We don't. No,
It creates
hold
defects.
On.
No.
We don't have any
defects in the sense that it's not typical of that organism for the extent of all of those organisms' representatives.
Yeah.
That does not necessarily mean that defect is going to be disadvantageous. That defect can be advantageous sometimes.
Okay.
Like you said, 1 in 10,000, it's actually advantageous. It's
I make
not
a prediction?
disadvantageous. Yep, go ahead.
Just do it, dude. Just do it. We're all in at this point.
Mutations happen.
God dang
Things
it,
change.
Yeah.
Different organisms
Whether
are
they
born
want
with,
to or
with,
not.
with
do.
different traits than their fathers and their mothers. Sometimes it's disadvantageous. Sometimes it's neutral and it does nothing.
Has anybody?
Sometimes it's advantageous, and then you have evolution.
Okay,
that is not
we have
adaptation.
examples
That
like
is evolution.
Lions and tigers. We get ligers, right?
Mic drop.
We get ligers, right? But ligers are sterile. So combinations of different species don't tend to produce anything.
No one's arguing that. If you made a fucking human with a grasshopper, nothing good's gonna happen.
Well, okay. Then all I need to do is ask you one single question. Is there an observation of a species turning into another species? No.
No, why would there be?
Then how do you claim evolution?
Okay, I can say this. You have a
What
mammal.
the hell, dude?
Check this out. Okay, guess what? Where do dolphins come from? How are there
They
mammals?
live in the ocean. What do you mean? Where do they come
how
from?
are there mammals in the
God.
ocean? How are there mammals in the ocean? Do you know, Doug?
No.
I'll tell you.
I won't lie.
I will tell
I won't
you.
act like I do.
Because
I don't.
certain creatures, basically everything evolved from ocean life, okay?
Oh, okay.
And then certain things grew little
Yeah, we
fins.
evolved from mermaids.
Okay,
I get it.
Okay, you know what happened? You know how
mermaids at one point.
dolphins and land and water mammals exist? They went back to the ocean. Those were literally
They
fish
went back to the source.
that became lizards that went back to being fish again
Okay.
after they became mammals. Okay, so it's a big deal that we can observe mammals in the ocean, because if we were a very young planet with minimal evolution, we would not have seen that double transition yet. Okay, we have that double transition now. We have every single creature that lives on the face of the fucking earth started in the ocean, and then you can trace their origins back to the ocean. Then they went on land, and then whales and dolphins, for example, actually went back into the ocean. That's why we have mammals in the ocean that give live birth, that feed their young milk from their fucking tits. Okay?
Dude, the whole argument for evolution is deep time. It's deep time. It's incomprehensible periods of time altering genetic codes to deliver these new iterations of biological life. When, if you looked at it in reality, it's like you start with a single cell. How do you ever get to an eyeball from a single cell? It's like,
God.
The proliferation of single cell organism is based on exposure to resources, and that's it.
Okay. I would love to answer that question. I would love to.
There is
no. You pose a question and then you don't want an answer.
Through that.
Do you want the answer?
It's an infinite number of fucking steps that you can't reason through,
Yes,
and that's
you
why
can.
they love to present
You
it.
can. Yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay. So you get a.
This will be fun.
You get a multi-celled organism. Okay. No.
You get one.
No.
Okay.
Because a single cell organism automatically turns into a multi-cell organism.
We've already talked about.
Jesus
We've already talked about how to get to a. We've already talked about how to get to a single-celled organism. Okay,
Chad,
it's a small leap. No, it's a small leap to a multi-celled organism. After that,
I think both.
No.
Chad,
Okay.
This is
So
one
then
step. Dude, I have not asked you to not talk. Do you understand?
I wonder why that is.
Do you because that's not what I do.
Because
do
you
you
talk
understand that the transition from unicellular organisms to multicellular organisms is one of the things that they have? It's another disconnect in the series of 17 or 83 or 1,000,099. It doesn't matter how many steps it is, as long as there are disconnects. Going from nothing to human consciousness is impossible through the human capacities of logic and observation. You can't do it. The only thing you can do is tell stories and ask people to have faith. And guess what God asks you
I'm
going to
answer your silly question with a very simple answer. You have an organism that has no eyeballs, okay? Doug, are you with me so far?
I'm with you.
No
organism
eyeballs,
that has
right?
no eyeballs.
Nothing with regard to sight.
Now
it's just a blob.
It has basically
it's flubby.
Now it has the right genetic it has the right evolutionary flaw in it, which allows it to have skin that actually feels okay. So everything is influenced by sunlight, right? You get direct sunlight, you get burned.
Can't argue with that.
Okay, so you can have some organisms that are closer to the surface, some organisms that are further in depth. They encounter sunlight at varying degrees. Okay, when you have an organism that encounters sunlight to a greater degree, evolves greater defenses for encountering that sunlight. Us, for example, or most mammals, for example, have melanin in our skin. Okay, the darker your skin is, the more melanin you have, the more resistance you have to sunlight and its harmful rays. Okay, so you have a single-celled or multi-celled organism, whatever you want to fucking say. Okay, it has more and more exposure to sunlight. Okay, it is going to develop more defenses to that sunlight. It might and will also develop sensitivity to that sunlight. Now you have an organism that is sensitive to sunlight. It can tell. It knows when it's in sunlight. That's a pretty basic thing to understand.
It is.
I feel sun on me somewhere, somehow. Okay? Now, take that a step further. I now feel that I have sunlight on me to a really, really great degree. Okay? Take that a step further. I can now almost. This is how eyes form, okay? This is all speaking to your, how does the eye form? That's impossible, right? The eye argument is something that religious people use all the fucking time. I'm so tired of hearing about it, okay?
Well, it only
eyes develop
the
so
corrective
easily.
function of like 13 different elements at the same time to work.
So easily.
That just happens.
This is not surprising at all, okay? So you have sensitivity to the sun, then you have sensitivity to light, okay? Then you have localized sensitivity to light. Now I'm really sensing it just on the top of my head kind of area here. Now, after another 20,000 generations, now I'm sensing light with just these two sensors right here because
I'm a single cell with a head.
I can use my skin a whole lot more effectively to just sense the light from these two spots, okay? Then those spots become more sensitive and more sensitive and more sensitive to the point where I can detect predators that are about to fucking eat me. Okay.
Yep.
So lo and behold,
I'll be quick.
After thousands of generations, you have developed eyeballs and eyeballs that can detect light and everything
dark.
Around them.
That
and
also adapt.
That's
too.
all that light. That's all the eyeballs do. They just detect light. They just reflect what's around us back into our brain. That's it.
They give us the image. of what the seeds around us.
Yep.
But they do more than that though too, because they also adapt because when there's a certain brightness and there's a certain level of darkness too.
Yes.
So eyeballs also adapt
Another
to our
level
environment
of adaptation, of evolution.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the difference
I see
between
what you're saying.
adaptation and evolution.
So hold on, I would almost say, not almost, I think I would say, you can't have adaptation without evolution. Do you agree or disagree with that?
No, okay.
You see what I'm getting at though? That's almost, it seems like a thing to me. You can't have one without the other.
So think about this. Okay, this is how I view it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Wait, hold on. I think maybe you just like broke my own mind.
I view adaptation as within a single generation. Okay, so
adaptation is a conscious choice.
Yes.
Not everyone adapts.
You and me are two wolves. Okay.
Yes.
We kill a caribou. We eat that fucker. We ain't gonna find out. We haven't found another caribou in fucking 29 days. We're starving, man. Like, what are we gonna do?
Hungry.
We got to adapt. We can't just look for caribou.
Something else.
Let's look for some fucking rats. Those are all over the place. We're gonna eat some rats. Okay. You know what? We survived. Versus Phil and Bethany over here said, you know what? We're only looking for caribou.
Perfect timing.
We're going to look harder. We're going to search further. We're going to find some fucking caribou. Did they ever find any caribou? Nope. No. They never did because we ate them all.
And it also seems to me like what goes with adaptation is also being open-minded on things. Like if you're open-minded, you're also adaptable because you're willing to take a different perspective.
Smarter. So there's so many factors that go in that go into evolution.
It's really complex, but I love it though.
Yeah, it's complicated.
It is.
Timmy Pool.
Well, before we go any further, it's 8 o'clock. It's getting late.
Holy shit!
This dude's got to work.
Quick.
This dude's got to work early in the morning.
We gotta come back and talk about. I'm not done yet. I mean, like,
shit.
I'm probably done for tonight. I gotta be done for tonight. But
that's what I'm saying.
I would love to come back and talk with Phil and with you
want to come
about
back
all
and do
kinds
this
of
again.
stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you and me were made for each other.
You guys really want. You know, I love it how you guys. It's funny. You know what's fun? Something I noticed while listening to you guys.
Well, because you're not a scatterbrained fucking idiot.
I think I know what I'm talking about.
Well, you guys have like you agree.
I have foundations for my thoughts here.
It's like idiots that just regurgitate fucking punchlines and shit. I can't stand it.
To me, it's like you guys agree on the principle.
Talk about stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's like you guys agree on like I guess the principle and foundation, if you will. Like here's the source. You agree on that, but everything that trickles down, if you do, you guys butt heads.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Infinite zoom in like 1,000 fucking times. We start at the same spot, but we can't figure out
exactly. You guys all start at the same spot, but you can't agree with what comes after that.
We're like floating north and south pole on a globe. We're just kind of fucking moving
on a
around
what
and shit.
On a what?
It doesn't. Fiction doesn't
on
matter.
A globe. On a globe, Phil.
If it helps illustrate the point, Thor in the mountains.
There you go, Thor in the mountains. Wait, I just want to say, like, let's do a recap.
You know what? This shit saves my life, man. This is the best release ever.
With you.
And I know you guys get excited. I'm glad you guys can come on here and talk about shit. This is going back to, this is why I started this. I love just getting different perspectives, hearing different people. This is episode 100, guys. I expect to see both of you here for 200.
Amen.
At this point, you know, Phil,
Phil, hey, I'm glad that I can give you heat.
I tried to make a joke about double vision earlier.
Without you getting too upset about it. No, Phil, I'm glad I can give you heat.
Oh, man.
Without you taking it too personally. And I hope that you feel that you can give me heat without me taking it personally. We can argue at full volume, but at the end of the day, am I ever going to punch you in the face? Hell fucking no.
You know what?
But you know what?
I feel like
with a whole lot of simple-minded people, you could have 10% of the conversation that we had, and they'd be ready to punch each other in the face.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Whereas you and me,
I feel like I found a counterpart.
We can fight here, and we're still cool at the end of the day.
Well,
I feel like
that's important. Yeah. That's a big deal.
Do you know what it is? You actually acknowledge that individuals make choices.
Sure they do.
Do you know how many people absolutely refuse to acknowledge that?
I think very few.
No, there's a lot of people who
I don't know.
refute their reasonings based on it.
It's people, I would say this, going back to the mental illness, which is
That's
how
what
we
all the
started
group
off the episode.
It's what all the group ID shit is based on,
People
man.
who play the victim don't make choices.
They can't.
If you play the victim, you're not
Can't do
making a
it.
choice.
You can't reconcile it in like building up an argument about whatever bullshit it is you're talking about.
I just want to give a quick shout out. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, everyone that's watching.
Where'd you get this
He
pen?
says,
Thank you, Anthony.
Great job, guys. This is a crazy ass roller coaster. Anthony also says he's still a good person, though.
To me or him?
He just said in general.
You know what? Leave it open because that's what makes it fun.
Well, it's all subjective, right?
I would like to say thank you, Douglas, for having me
Hey, chat.
on episode 100. I feel very flattered for being here.
I just want to say I'm glad the stars aligned. Like when I
Thank you, Phil, for a good conversation. I appreciate being here.
I was really brainstorming a lot with Phil because Phil comes over every week. I was like, man, what are we gonna do for 100? Like it's a milestone. 2 milestones we use. 10,000 plays total on the audio and episode 100, all within 5 days. We hit 10,000 plays on Saturday, episode 100 on Wednesday. So I was like, we got to do something like special, you know what I mean, for it. And not only special, but something who's been here from the beginning and seen the evolution of this podcast.
I like it. I'm flattered to be here. Thank you very much.
David Duchovny, he starred in a movie called Evolution.
Who is?
And the O is a smiley face. So, man, go have fun with that.
Oh, you're talking about the super old school movie Evolution.
Evolution? Absolutely.
I actually
That's
love
from
that
like
movie.
20 years
Oh, that's a
ago
good
or some
movie.
shit.
It is.
Yeah,
I never actually
Head and
watched
Shoulders.
it.
You never watched it?
No,
oh,
I never
good
saw
shit.
it.
That's good
Head
shit.
and Shoulders.
Yes,
No, they
yes. Head and Shoulders saves the fucking world.
Head and Shoulders saves the fucking world in that
The active
movie.
ingredient
Spoiler
is this
alert.
molecule and this molecule on the periodic table, or this element in periodic table.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, God.
So
You
anyone
would get a kick out of it. You really would.
Oh, my
you really
God.
would. You
Have
really
you
would.
you've seen Idiocracy, right?
Yes. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm saying this,
You
but
know what?
I love
My
Idiocracy
favorite
so much.
part is that Terry Crews is the fucking you can
We feed. What do you feed your crops?
could-
Gatorade.
it couldn't be better.
It's what crops crave.
And it's the lower tier Owen brother who's the star of it, right? Oh my, it's fucking custom made.
Luke Owen.
Luke Owen, that's right. Oh my God, you fucking.
Oh yeah. Costco.
Oh
Costco. I went to law school there.
my God.
All right.
There it is, boys. Well, yeah, let's wrap this up
Signing
then.
off, gentlemen.
Hey,
Chad Fuller,
I still
thank
have-
you for episode
Chad,
100.
Thank you for being here, brother.
I'm
I
happy
don't
to be
know
here.
What you got? I'll choose whatever you
Cheers.
got. Thank you, Phil.
Boom.
Thank you, everyone, you guys. Everyone who's
Cheers,
listening
everybody.
right now, all the audio, it gets uploaded. I'm not going to
Oh
go
my
into too much.
God.
Anthony, have a good night. Everyone, have a good night on Mixer, D-Live, Twitch, YouTube. Everyone who's watching right now, I appreciate all you guys. I just want to say, to me, even having just this small handful of viewers on every stream, when you go from 0 and you go to 1, and then you go to 2, and then you go to 3, etc., etc., that one person that tunes in, just it feels more fulfilling, rewarding, and the best progression you can ask for is steady progression. Since I saw this podcast a year ago, I didn't do this for the fame or for the money. I did it to kind of expand my own intellect and to help people. This is what I've told a lot of people, my main motive for this. I've been really grateful when it comes to having good friends like you guys, and there's a lot of other people I have really good friends for. Well, I can just talk to about shit and vent about shit. Now, there was a point in my life where I didn't really have many friends, and I know there's a lot of people that don't want. So just anyone who's listening right now, who listen to this, whether you listen to tomorrow when I upload this audio, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that I'm your friend. Everyone who comes on the Doug Life is your friend. And just we'll all hear from you. And I do this because I want you guys to kind of exercise your own intellect and help you guys write your own story, because that's what it's about. This podcast isn't about me. It's not about Phil. It's not about Chad. It's about you. We lay the pavement down, but it's up to you to drive on the road. If that makes sense. You know, like that's honestly my main motivation from all this.
Doug, Cheers
the
to
Doug
you.
Life.
That's what you do.
And
Thank
that
you guys.
pavement that you've laid for all of us. And thank you for
guys.
having us here. And
Thank
I think
you
I
for
speak for
asking
Phil
me.
and myself that say it's a pleasure to be here for episode 100. And keep doing what you're doing, bud. It's a lot of fun.
That's all I can
It's
do.
very, very interesting.
It is.
And you're shedding light on a lot of shit for a lot of people.
Boom.
Props
Cheers,
to you, bud.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers to you,
I
Doug.
really appreciate you guys, honestly. One more thing before they sign out, it shows like I can't do this alone, and none of us can do this alone. Nobody can do anything alone. You can't.
No, there's
Donate
illusion.
money to Chad Fuller.
Donate money to chat. You want to start a fucking Venmo?
We can't do this alone, so please hit the
This
subscribe
guy's
button at the
hit
bottom.
that subscribe, hit that like, hit that follow,
and then
share.
just ask Doug for my contact information, and then donate money to me directly.
Go to Old Chicago, buy some fucking onion rings and $3 pints.
Go to Old Chicago and give me money directly. I would like more money.
Wow.
Just donate money to me.
If I'm going to give a shout out, go to Mises.org, read Karl Menger, Ludwig von Mises, Murray Rothbard, and Hans Hermann Hoppe. If you only pick one, pick Hoppe. Look for Democracy, the God That Died, or whatever it is. I mean, that single fucking audio book will change your world.
Okay, I will do a shameless name drop here as well. If you are someone who is struggling with religion, who is upset with the status quo of religion and needs to find an alternative, who is flirting with but is scared of the idea of labeling yourself an atheist, or who's just interested in exploring the ideas of people who have thought about atheism, I encourage you strongly to research and listen to the names Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, Sam Harris. Listen to what they have to say and listen to them debate people that do not hold the same beliefs as they do, and see what they have to say for themselves and in the face of others who pose questions that you may not feel you have the answer to right now. And it might expand your understanding of the world we live in and the universe that we face every day. And it might give you a better understanding of where you fit and how you fit and how to operate in this world. And I promise you, there are good people in this world.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
They do the right thing.
Incorrect.
Shut up.
They do the right thing, but there aren't enough of them out there. We could use more of you. Join our team, please. There are a lot of bad people out there.
But you're willing to accept that part.
Shut up.
There are a lot of bad actors. There are a lot of bad actors out there.
Yeah.
Who, make the world a worse place. It's on all of us to make the world a better place.
Hold on, Phil.
And it's up to each individual person. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see.
Who is that?
Be the change.
He's the only one I haven't heard of. Daniel Dennett? Who's he?
He's a big old bearded guy.
You're looking.
Dude,
He lives in the sky, Phil.
No, dude, he's the only one I haven't heard of.
He lives in the sky.
Okay, I just want, before I close this out.
Everybody else, I knew all the other names, but he's the one I don't know.
Even though Phil doesn't think there's no good people, I think both of you are good people. Everyone who comes on this podcast is good people.
Challenge me to reason your way out of it.
For my name drops, I'm going to drop Douglas Christopher Hofstrom, Chad Fuller, Philip Peffer, Michael Ong, everyone else who comes on the Doug Life, because this podcast is really about a subjective truth, and we want you all to find it.
No, objective truth. You got it backwards. Philly out.
Don't listen to Phil.
The Doug Life chose me.